Well, hello. Good morning. I was not ready for this. I was not anticipating having to go live, but I'm happy to be here. I just got a document dump on Sarah Boone. Boone Baggin, as some of us like to call her, Miss Boone Baggin. We will be going through that and getting ready for today. Also, we're going to be, what am I doing with my glasses? We're going to be watching a video and discussing this judge unaliving case. Hello, Toy. How's you doing, love? Appreciate you being here. I really, really do. It's going to be a day. We do have later on today, we do have the Sarah Boone hearing at 2 o'clock in my time, 3 o'clock Eastern. Have to think about it. So I hope this finds you well. I really, really do. How you doing today, Miss Tori? I mean, Toy. I have a friend named Tori. Forgive me. Last night, we interpreted the vice presidential debate, and that was an awesome experience. I want to thank everybody who joined us and shared it. It's vitally important. New news as well. Mexico has its first female president, and she promises no return to drug war. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, y'all. That's awesome. I am looking at my numbers. My gosh, we got to 400 views last night. That's amazing. Yay. Yay. Yes, congratulations. My sis is Tori. Oh, well, don't take offense if I call you Toy. Um, I hopped on last minute, so I understand there's going to be a lot of people hopping on late. That's fine, but we do need to talk about Miss Sarah Boone. Whoop whoop, Miss Sarah Boone. I am going to get ready to share screen. What am I looking for? We got Doc PDF. Let me see if that's it. Share. Yepers, it is. Okay, so we're going to go through this and I'm going to try and do it this way and see how it fits. I hate, I'm going to try and go with, fit to screen. We're going to biggen. I'm going to biggen. Yeah, I need a better program for this, y'all. Or I need a mod who can set it up for me because, it's really it's a lot of that going on. Hey, K-Swan, Boondocks. We got some Boondocks. Boondockadoom, backadoom, backadoom. I'm sorry. I told somebody today, I don't want to adult today. I really don't want to adult today. I am not looking forward to adulting today. This is not my day to adult. I know. Am I being ridiculous? Did y'all have a good night's sleep? I don't mind at all. Call me whatever you want. I'll answer. Well, I do respect everybody's names. Good morning, Miss K Swan. I appreciate you hopping in. We're going to go ahead and hop on. I was prepping for my homework. I've got a big paper due tomorrow. No, Friday. And I just happened to say, let's see what's going on with the Boone trial. So I looked it up and I went, oh my gosh. I actually was watching Sheriff Schute's judge case and the new possible motive with Court TV. We will be seeing that at the end of these documents. It's interesting. Y'all, I woke up with an optical migraine and it's like, yeah. Okay, so I'm adulting. I promise I'm adulting now. We're going to adult. Okay, here we go. Come now, says state of Florida by through with the undersigned assistant state attorney and files a notice of provision of supplemental witness list, clarifying that on the date of the filing, the instant notice of provisions of supplemental witness list, the undersigned assistant state attorney electronically served upon the defendant a supplemental list of names and addresses of persons known to the state of Florida to have information that may be relevant to any offense charged or any defense thereto, or to any similar facts evidence to be presented at trial. I'm beginning to think that Sarah runs the jail just by hopping and going over jail. So, yeah, I know. She does run the jail, sort of. That's all to this document. Well, I thought it was a 2-pager. What the heck? Okay, let me do this. Maybe I have to. There it is. Oh, jeez. I certify a copy there. Oh, so this is basically only saying we sent everything of our witnesses to James Sullivan Owens. So on the 2nd day of October. So what they're saying is, hey, dude, we sent you everything. So now we have another one. Okay, now I'm sharing this. I have to do this to every single one. I need to put somebody in charge of this. Y'all would be awesome. Y'all would be. Y'all would be amazing. Far better than I is. Far better than I is. Because all of this takes time. And I apologize for the stuff. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. Yes, please remember to hit the like button. That would be awesome. Okay, here comes the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Notice the provisions of defendant's 4th amended witness list. So they're saying, hey, we got it, but this is the 4th one. Comes now the defendant by through the undersigned counsel and files a notice of provisions of the defendant 4th amended witness list, certifying that on the date of the filing notice of the provision of defendant's 4th amended witness. You're going to keep saying that, aren't you? The undersigned counsel will electronically serve at the end of the day upon the office of the state attorney a list of names and addresses certified. So they're both doing the same thing. They're both saying, hey, guess what, dude? We can do this too. We're going to tell you that we served you, and you're telling us you served us. Okay, we're done. All's good. Love and war. By the way, I am getting my first look at these documents. Okay, guys, so please understand, I've not seen these. I literally just opened them and decided to hop on with y'all. Notice of the provisions of the defendant's 4th. Oh, no, we're doing this again. Are you kidding? Okay, let's get to this document. We're not going to play that hopscotch game. All right, this here is in a different format. Go figure. Different format. Let's look at this. What is this? Court order and setting and reset. What? Cause came for this day of the motion. The following person is hereby notified that the Honorable Michael J. Kranick has set the above style case for hearing with Assistant State Attorney W.J. present and you, the defendant, Sarah Boone, now being present, represented by David Verrett, Winston Hobbins. Why do you have it twice? Rachel Fugate, James Owens, Kevin Beck. What? Wait, let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 freaking attorneys from a woman who couldn't get one. So technically, she's got 15 attorneys in her pocket at one point. Oh my gosh. Motion to suppress was filed. Orange County Jail. This is just saying that, oh man, what happened to the good stuff? This isn't good. It's all the same stuff. Well, there, I gave it to you. I told you I would. Let me go ahead and double check this and make sure I got all of it right because I'm like, this sucks. Not all documents are the most fabulous thing. I'm still wanting to get a hold of her behavioral notes between the time of the last ones we got, which was 2 months ago, and today. I'm double checking. Give me a second. It takes a hot minute to hop up. Okay. So, what was filed was the fourth amended witness list was provided by the district attorney. Okay. Then the defendant's fourth answer of receiving said fourth document. And then the judge is set forth some wait a minute. There's some documents that are missing. Oh, they removed them. Because I downloaded 4 or 5 documents. We've already looked at the motion to suppress. Okay, we're good. We're all caught up on documents, y'all. I'm sorry. Hello, Britt. Hello, everybody. Thank y'all for joining. Hey, I told you I'd grab them. I did. I grabbed them. They may not be a lot of fun, but I grabbed them. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to watch this segment from Court TV. I am beginning to tell everybody and remind everybody that Court TV has given me permission to share their stuff. So this is used with permission. This is about what we watched yesterday. Mind you, there may be raw footage of an unaliving in this particular video. I don't know if they blurred it out. I do know when we were watching it live, I did not blur it out because I didn't know we were going to have this. It hit us like a ton of bricks. This woman actually, for the first time in years, was left speechless. So let's go ahead and bring this on because it gives motive. And that's what's important. Some of us were like, why? Well, we're going to learn the why. And then after this, we'll see. We'll see what happens next. I am still diligently watching the court record in this trial with Sarah Boone. Maybe some more will hop up. But let's play this. Warning. There is a warning, y'all.
The locals call this part of the country Appalachia. It's a place where folks get to know each other because there just aren't a ton of people living here. That community gets even smaller when you talk about the criminal justice system. Public defenders can become prosecutors who can become judges. People who are related by marriage can be on opposing sides inside the courtroom. And people seem to get along with it and figure it all out. It's just the way things are. That's why no one suspected anything violent or dangerous was going to happen when the local judge, Kevin Mullins, and the sheriff, Mickey Steins, had a closed-door private meeting inside the judge's chambers. But what happened inside there, no one in this small town expected. The sheriff asking the judge for his phone, then making a call from that phone, then shooting and killing the judge. All of it was recorded on video. Sheriff Mickey Steins is now charged with first-degree murder after surrendering immediately afterwards. And now the community is finding out a lot more about what happened as the first court hearing takes place in Kentucky tonight. We'll show you exactly what happened in court and then break down the potential motive and what this trial will be all about as folks in Appalachia try to heal from this shocking courthouse shooting.
This was horrendous.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments.
Am I very quiet or the video?
We learned a lot. We learned a lot today.
There you go.
About
Sorry.
the shooting of Judge Kevin Mullins. First of
Better?
all, what became very clear is that the judge knew he was going to die moments before he died. That was crystal clear.
That's so sad. That's what
he was
got
apparently
me.
Unarmed.
The fear.
The sheriff had a gun.
The last thing that this sheriff felt ever in the rest of his life was sheer and utter fear. He knew he was going to die. He knew without any doubt, the moment that gun was drawn, his life was over. And I can't imagine. I got a cat hair. Okay, got it. I can't imagine. Can't imagine. The last thing you have is knowing you're going to die and that fear.
And it was pointed right at the judge.
Mm-hmm.
And he started firing. The judge knew what was going to happen. He knew how it was going to end. The reason we know is there is shocking video of what happened inside the chambers. I'm going to show it to you in just a few moments. But the video...
Stop. This is what you're going to see, guys. Okay? Vitally important. If you can't handle it, please leave. But this breaks my heart. I don't get emotional. This got me.
Was rolling. There's no audio. It's just video. But you can see everything that transpired inside the judge's chambers. Now, it is kind of unusual to have a video camera in the judge's chambers.
But
other things have happened in that chambers that likely required it. Sexual assaults, not by the judge, by one of the sheriff's deputies inside those chambers. My guess is that's why they have a camera now. Probably didn't have it beforehand, but they have it now. And it recorded everything that happened, which brings us back every time we do the story. Why? Why would a sheriff, knowing that as soon as he does this, he's going to be locked up, knowing as soon as he does this, he'll be charged with murder, knowing as soon as he does this, he is facing the rest of his life in a potential death penalty sentence when he does this? He knows the law. So what we learned today is that those rumors that have been circulating on social media and all over Letcher County have some basis of truth to them. In answering the question why, it appears that moments before the shooting, the sheriff's daughter, her name, her phone number became part of all of this. So it appears much clearer today that answering the why of this is somehow, some way connected to the sheriff's teenaged daughter. Now, I told you I was going to show you the video. I'm warning you, it's real. This is what happened. This is the prosecution's case, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't last long, but you can see the sheriff pointing the gun. You can see the judge in the corner trying to take cover, but it just doesn't happen. And then the sheriff exits. Once again, you can see right in that moment, the judge knows what's about to happen. Now we don't hear the conversation, so we don't know what's being said, but you can tell by the body language. You can tell by what we see in the video. So today was a preliminary hearing. Because he hasn't been indicted, within 10 days of arrest, the state, or the Commonwealth in this case, is required to put some evidence in front of a judge to prove that there's probable cause to send this case up to the circuit court. So that video pretty much is the prosecution's case. Like, that was the sheriff. Here's the video of what he did, and we have evidence that the judge is dead, requiring probable cause for the elements of the crime. Very quick. What was more, I'm not going to say interesting, but what was more probative of trying to unwrap and uncover why this is happening came through the cross-examination of Clayton Stamper, who is a detective from the Kentucky State Police. He is the case agent. He is the one who is leading this investigation. Take a listen to some of these details wrapped around the why of it and what the rest of the story is. Take a listen.
It's my understanding that video lasted much longer, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to review the video
I have.
of the prior incident?
I have.
And can you describe for us what happened immediately prior to the clip that we saw?
Sheriff Steins uses his telephone to make some phone calls. He then borrows Judge Mullen's cell phone and appears to make a call on that. And that led to what you just saw.
Okay. So it's my understanding there were some people who were having a meeting with Judge Mullins prior to the sheriff's entry into the chambers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you identified those witnesses?
I don't know the names of them. There's about approximately 4 people in there. Then Sheriff Steins enters the judge's chambers and everybody else clears out.
Once the 4 people that were inside, that we don't know their names, once these 4 people had left the chambers, were they in an area adjacent where they could hear anything that was going on?
Yes, I believe some of them did remain in the next room.
Okay. And what did they tell us?
Do I?
What did they hear?
I've not been part, I wasn't part of those interviews.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, you're prepared for a preliminary hearing on a murder, and there are witnesses in an adjacent room.
I mean, they heard
Can I put
gunshots.
my question, please?
Yeah, please, that's the question.
Thank you, officer. So you are investigating a murder and testifying in a preliminary hearing, and there are witnesses who may have overheard what preceded this edited clip, yet you can't tell us today anything that they said?
I've not
daughter worked
personally
for the
listened to those
judge.
interviews. I've talked to the other officers that did those interviews.
Fair enough. And I mean, we're here at a preliminary hearing, as you know, that you can testify to hearsay. I'm asking you what they said.
They heard gunshots.
Okay. Was there any statements that they overheard?
No.
Were there raised voices?
There, one person stated that she didn't recognize him as being Judge Mullen's voice, but heard somebody say, "Help, help."
Of course, your investigation, did you ascertain that prior in the day there had been a lunch meeting between Sheriff Steins and Judge Mullins?
There was.
Pardon?
There was.
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't hear your response. I wasn't being trite. So where did this take place?
It's a restaurant called Street Side, and it's just down the street from the courthouse.
Okay. And it's my understanding there were a couple of other people who attended the luncheon.
There were several, yes.
Okay. And at some point after that, they wrapped up lunch and left, obviously, and went back to the courthouse. Are you aware of anything so far in your investigation that would tell us there was any issues at lunch between Judge
No,
Mullins and Sheriff Steins?
no.
But someone on behalf of the KSB has spoken to those witnesses?
Yes, they've all been interviewed.
And there was nothing unusual that had arisen during that luncheon?
I was told that the judge made a statement to Mickey about, do we need to meet private in my chambers? That's all I was told.
Do you know the context of
I do
what
not.
the conversation was before that they would need to discuss in chambers?
I do not.
So it's my understanding that in the larger portion of the video that we haven't had access to, that there is a point when Sheriff Steins asked for to see the telephone of Judge Mullins.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And I would presume that you and the other officers you mentioned, when you secured the scene, that you secured those phones as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
And have you reviewed both of those phones?
They're currently at the forensic lab at this time being downloaded. I have had discussions with the people at the lab regarding the downloads.
Based upon your conversations with the officers, are you aware of any recent content that was up and could have been relevant at the time of their discussion?
I was told that Sheriff Steins had tried to call his daughter, and he had tried to call his daughter from the judge's phone also.
Have officers confirmed that the sheriff's daughter's phone number was on Judge Mullins' phone?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
So that number had been called from Judge Mullins' phone?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
There's your case. There's what this is going to be all about. Why is the sheriff's daughter's phone number on the judge's phone?
I thought she worked for him.
And what exactly is the nature of that connection? And is that, and it seems to somehow be related to the sheriff's daughter, the factor that made the sheriff do what he did? Like, he took these actions for a reason, knowing what the result would be. Big day in Kentucky. Court TV producer Cody Thomas on the case tonight, joining us live from West Liberty, Kentucky, where this was taking place, not in Letcher County. All right,
Yeah,
Cody, let's start first.
minors
You were
work.
inside the courtroom. I saw you there. Describe what's happening in that courtroom.
Okay, guys. First of all, I understand everybody's concerned. We've got a lot of things flying around about young women and people being taken advantage of intimately within the system because of a deputy sheriff. Hello, Dawn. How are you? But we don't have the full story yet. This is still a fluid case. But that said, it is my understanding that the young lady worked part-time for the judge. Now, that does just because she is in the phone does not mean that anything inappropriate happened. The father may have assumed something happened, doesn't mean it actually did. We will, of course, be finding out all this as everybody else does, but I was working at 14. If you count my babysitting jobs, I was a certified babysitter at 11. Back then, we had to be. I mean, we didn't have to be, but it was recommended. Okay, here we go.
I'm interested in who was there, how they were reacting, interaction. Are the families there? Set the scene for us.
Well, of course, Vinny, the families of both parties were there. Judge Mullen's family sitting right behind the prosecution table. And of course, once that video played, that was the biggest moment of the day, just seeing, the point of death once Steins pulled that gun out and shot at Judge Mullins. And I can tell you, Vinny, as soon as that video played and the family saw that, there was maybe a quiet hush for 1 to 2 seconds before his family just burst into uncontrollable tears. There was lots of hugs, lots of consoling. And I want to let you listen to some of that raw emotion right now so you can fully get a grasp of that moment when they saw that video.
I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to. I cannot imagine. I was angry that the judge or the prosecution did not warn this poor woman that she was going to watch her husband be unalived and the child next to the daughter doing everything they can to keep their composure.
Of course, that wasn't the only thing that was talked about. You just mentioned it.
That
the
pissed
phones,
me off.
The Steins' daughter's phone.
It's bad enough I meant to pause this. It's bad enough that we see what happened. Bye, Brax. Hi, ADH Jelly Bean. Hey, Dawn, you're not late. I just came on unexpectedly. I absolutely cannot understand this. Don't understand this at all. Guys, we have multiple trials starting. I'm going to have to wrap this up because let me tell you what's going on. We have the Kowalski J Hatch at 12. I didn't know we were going to have such a busy day. Are y'all ready for this? Ba-da-da-dun-dun-dun. Okay, let me get these in order of time because we got multiple things happening. Okay, we got that one. I didn't realize until I started diving into this. Okay, we have the New Mexico versus Hannah Gutierrez Reed bar, booze, and gun motion hearing. And then we are I'm going to start these lives. May have up to 3 lives at one time. We have then just 45 minutes later, the Kowalski J Hatch. And then at 2 my time, we have the Boone. So I am in the process of getting thumbnails made. I am literally spinning here. So what I'm probably going to do is we're going to let this run while I'm working because I want us to have access to all of that. Okay.
Development in this hearing today, huge development in this case. There was no official word on the record about, again, the nature of that relationship, whether there was inappropriate or not. But again, a crucial piece of evidence for the state coming on the record to say that number was in his phone.
Well, let me ask you, Cody, you mentioned the families. Does that mean that the sheriff's daughter
that's on the 9th.
Also inside that courtroom today?
October 8th.
There were a bunch of people
running.
speckled on his side. There's more people on Judge Mullen's side, less people on the sheriff's side, but I did see two teenage girls sitting over there that did resemble his daughters, and they kind of sat there stoic, as did the sheriff when the video played. He didn't really have any emotion. He kind of just looked at it. He didn't look away. He just accepted it for what it was, and his family didn't hear any cries from that side of the courtroom, but I did see them holding each other, just kind of, again, accepting what was being shown to the court, as gruesome as it was.
What a moment. I can't imagine being that family. You're watching your loved one being executed, defenseless, cowering in the corner, trying to get some protection, trying to just get away, and unsuccessfully, obviously. Okay, let's get into some more of what we learned today. How about the sheriff? I know he knows he has the right to remain silent. He's learned that many, many, many years ago.
From day one.
What did he say after he was arrested, after he surrendered himself?
Vinny, of course, we saw the lead investigator, Clayton Stamper, on the stand testifying today, giving all that evidence that came out of this hearing. He said that once Steins was arrested, they had a conversation, and Steins made a statement to him asking him to just treat him fairly. But he also mentioned something about someone threatening to kidnap his wife and kids, which is interesting. Take a listen to this.
That's
He was
strange.
in custody when I arrived at the courthouse that afternoon. He was calm. He was kind of afraid that basically all he said was, treat me fair. That's basically the comments he made. I wasn't present, but when he was taken into custody, I was told by one of the
Don't know what happened, y'all. I'm getting it. Okay, I apologize. We had a surge here. That was weird. I apologize. We're up and running. I do have protection, thank God. But the power cut real quick. I've got a backup
Wife
battery
and
coming.
kid. We've been talking about this being personal. It doesn't get more personal than that. This is a man, this is his family, his wife and his daughter. That's it. You go on his Facebook page, that's what you see. You see pictures of the sheriff and his daughter and the sheriff and his wife and the daughter. That's what you see. That's his life. But this kidnapping is throwing me for a loop. Was there any other reaction from the courthouse from anyone about this kidnap? Like maybe other journalists covering it? Did anyone see this coming?
No one saw it coming. There wasn't any audible reaction as it was when the video was shown of the shooting, but you kind of saw some heads turning, just kind of as we're reacting. What's going on? Where did that come from? That was nothing that we'd heard about, not even in the rumor mill going around Letcher County. So it definitely threw everybody for a loop, and it definitely came out of nowhere once that was said on the witness stand by the lead investigator.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't part of the rumors that were floating around for weeks here. All right, how about the lunch meeting? To me, this is significant. There's something happening just before they get back to Chambers. They're going to lunch. That seems so innocent. What did we learn about the lunch meeting?
So, of course, Vinny, as the lead investigator said, they all went to lunch, multiple people, not just Steins and Mullins. And somewhere in that
Good
lunch,
morning, Kristen.
Mullins looked at Steins and said, as the investigator said, do we need to talk in private? And that's when they walked back to the courthouse. They went to the chambers, and everything following ensued. But the investigator did say something about another employee that worked in the office with Steins and Mullins, and they talked about collecting her phone and going through it because it allegedly had a text conversation about what was said during that lunch. Take a listen to this.
There was one other phone that's currently being examined, and the basic reason it was seized was there was a text conversation between Sheriff Steins and some of his employees with the sheriff's office.
Okay, and that was an additional phone of Sheriff Steins.
It was a phone of, I guess she's the, I don't know what her title is, but she's employed. She's not sworn. She's employed by the Letcher County Sheriff's Office. And she voluntarily gave her phone to the person that interviewed her.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, could you explain why that was relevant or germane to your investigation?
I didn't conduct that interview, but it was, I guess it was regarding the dinner at Streetside and things that led up to the shooting. But I don't have those results either, so I don't know exactly what was said.
And Vinny, as you just heard right there, no word on exactly what was said in those text conversations, but I'm sure that will be a bombshell piece of evidence once this case goes to trial. And ultimately, the judge did find probable cause, so it will be moving from district to circuit court.
Big
So
time
a jury
probable
trial
cause.
will be on the way.
Wow, a lot of developments and still some unanswered questions tonight, things that need to be clarified, but we've learned a lot more. Cody on the case in Kentucky. Cody Thomas, thank you so much. All right. When we come back, we'll bring in our think tank and break down all this new information we've learned, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, we take you inside the home of Madeline Soto, taking a look at
Okay, we're not going to go into the home of Madeline Soto. Don't plan on doing that, baby. Not doing that one. Nope. Let me get this one close, this one close. I'm trying to set up my calendar. As the gavel drops. As the gavel drops, let me see if I have their thing here. Well, I'll just go get it and leave the comments. Making tea, having chai, how wonderful. That is so awesome. In Discord, do you have Discord? Hi, Adair. Does anybody have Discord? New allegations against P. Diddy. Some victims were only 9. What? We ain't going there. Oh, wow. Okay, let me go to Ads the Gavel Drops. I'm going to right click on it. Don't I? Invite people. Copy. Comments. Control V. There we go. You can go there and join As the Gavel Drops. It's where we get the majority of our documents. And they're fabulous over there. So definitely. What case is this? I don't know about this case. Okay, let me look that up. I mean, my problem is I'm trying so hard to leave next week open. And I really, hello, Gretchen. Hope your doctor appointment's going okay. I am really trying to leave the availability open. And this case, any case that's going to cut into the Boone case, I'm trying hard not to start because I don't think it's fair for me to start a case and then to back out and just case hop. I don't want to be case hopping. I love the name Gretchen. Actually, I've had 2 relatives with that name. 2 relatives with that name. Why do my comments not all? Okay, Adair, when you go into your comment section, sorry, my son's calling. You need to go up and click all, not top. I'm sorry, my son is not here and he's checking on me. I woke up with a optical migraine, and a lot of times it can go into a regular migraine for me. So he's just checking on about me. He's being an awesome son. He really is. What? Netflix loses in the baby reindeer case. Don't know anything about it, but if you're following it, there you go. Netflix. No, I wanted to get in trouble, but Netflix got in trouble. Lost their case. It may be. Click on all comments, not top, all. If that doesn't work, it's a YouTube glitch. Kristen, I got to be careful with that. Just because the timing. I could possibly simultaneously do 2 different hearings, trials, but that would be a lot. Especially with the amount of attention I'm going to have to give the Boone case. Just saying. So I do apologize if I'm coming off as kind of evasive on that, but I don't want to research criminal justice. I've got so many windows up. I'm going to look at the Orange County courthouse again and see what other possible documents have dropped. Then nothing new. Okay, why don't we just go back and follow up on what we were doing? Was everybody able to catch up for the documents that were filed under the defendant's motion to suppress? Did y'all understand that? I'll go over it again. And then that was posted on the 30th. And the protective order request on the 30th. I am interested to know what exactly is going to happen with that and this judge. Because with this judge, I'll get it later. With this particular judge, I'm sure he'll make all of his everything clear today. One concern I'm having is did the prosecution or the assistant district attorney get in the interview or the deposition of one of the witnesses? That to me is important. I'm going to play this court TV. This one is about how long was George really in the suitcase. So let's share this because I really love their take on this. And since I'm on, it's 11, it's only a few hours away. As long as I have content to share, we're just going to prep and watch some of the stuff I've not seen. I haven't seen this particular.
The suitcase
Here we
was
go.
used to dispose of dismembered body parts. This case is different. Here, the suitcase is alleged to be the actual murder weapon. Here's the story.
Then I might be able to.
February
go
24th,
do both. I'll be
2020,
right back,
Sarah
y'all.
Boone and her boyfriend, George Torres, were spending an evening together at Sarah's home. The couple had a bit of a tumultuous past. Both had been arrested on domestic violence charges, but they always seemed to get back together. On this night, the two were drinking. But what happened next is almost inexplicable. George got inside of a suitcase that was then zipped shut. Why and exactly how he got into the suitcase is not 100% clear. But what is clear is that at one point, he wanted to get out. He pleaded with Sarah to open the suitcase, but she refused. Instead, she turned on the video camera on her phone and started to record as George begged for his life. Still, she refused to unzip the suitcase. Then the following morning, she eventually called 911. She said she and George were playing hide and seek, and George ended up in the suitcase. When police responded, they found George dead. Sarah has been charged with second-degree murder, but now she claims she was the victim and is claiming battered spouse syndrome. What happened inside that apartment, and why was George in that suitcase? We've been talking about this story for quite some time. The public reaction is strong, and it always comes back to that image. And I'm going to show you that image right now, so I wanted to warn you. Some people find this difficult to watch, but it's the video
that Sarah Boone, the first video that Sarah Boone recorded, and you'll see the suitcase. You'll hear George Torres's voice. He's inside that suitcase. You'll hear Sarah Boone's voice. She's the one holding the camera. Let's watch.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real or ransom. I want to get video for it extra.
I hate this
Here, look
video,
at this.
but it is
Sarah.
what it is.
Real or ransom.
Sarah.
Yours.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you chewing on me.
Sarah.
You.
Breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut the up.
Sarah.
What gets me is how she lied about
That's
doing
just
CPR.
one of the videos, and that's just a couple of minutes. Now, obviously, that's not the entire time that George is inside that suitcase, which brings me to my first question, and I think it'll be an important one at the trial. How long was George in the suitcase? When did he get in? When was it finally unzipped? Joining me, Court TV digital
She is
content
a
producer who's been
wicked little
covering this
wench.
story
She's wicked.
inside and out.
Can't stand her.
Lauren Silver is with us, and forensic pathologist Dr. Priya Banerjee. Thank you both for being here. Lauren, I'll begin with you, and I want to put this up on the screen. We have somewhat of a timeline here of what's going on, but I want you to kind of
Okay, everybody. I appreciate everybody's styles. I appreciate everybody's freedom to choice to wear what they want. But I just saw a blast to the 80s. It was like, what? Did we go back in time? Sorry, honey boo boo. You're beautiful. I just didn't expect the 80s caller.
fill in the blanks. It seems that he's in the suitcase
Please tell me that's not coming back into style. Please, God, no.
by 11:12 or so. Falls
Exactly.
So 11. What are they doing that night at 11:12 that gets him into the suitcase, and how precise is that time?
So we know that their evening starts at sometime around 4 p.m. when the two of them are at home. They're painting pictures, doing puzzles, and it starts with sharing a bottle of wine. At some point, they decided to play hide and seek. Sarah hid upstairs. She says George never came to look for her, so she went downstairs and found him. And at that point, they thought it'd be funny to zip him into the suitcase. Now, where we're getting that 11:12 time is that's the first video recording that you just saw that was on Sarah's phone. So at that point, he's already in the suitcase and saying that he's having trouble breathing.
And then eventually, somehow, some way, she
Okay, he's going to go in this, but look. If this suitcase, oh my gosh, I won't tell you what I think that is. I think that's fecal matter. I mean, bodily fluid. Or hopefully it's just stained. But if you turn this suitcase right side up, he has a chance to get out. Okay? Right side up, he has a possibility. If he can get the zipper undone, he has hope. The moment she flipped him upside down, there is zero chance of him getting out of there.
She
Hello, Toxic.
leaves downstairs, goes upstairs.
Oh, Toxic. We have Kristen. I just referred her to you to Discord. She wants to know if y'all were covering the GA versus Leilani Simmons baby found deceased in landfill trial.
And goes to sleep. We get to the next morning. What's the time frame here? Is she finding him?
He was in there for over 12 hours.
Early in the morning, mid-morning, late morning?
She says she went up, went to sleep. She assumed that he would find his own way out of the suitcase. So she says she was woken up at about 11 a.m. by her phone ringing over and over again. She assumed it was her ex-husband, looked around and realized, I don't see George. So she went downstairs looking for him. And it's at that point that she realized he was in the suitcase. He was unresponsive. She couldn't wake him up. And her immediate response was to call her ex-husband.
So I'm doing the math as you're describing all this. Like it seems at a minimum, it's 11 hours and 48 minutes. All right, Dr. Priya Banerjee, how long could someone survive in a suitcase like that? And is there any way to tell with any precision? Is it a ballpark? And what would it be like for that amount of time for George Torres?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me, Dr. Banerjee? We're having some trouble, obviously, with Dr. Banerjee hearing me. So, Lauren, as we get back to the suitcase and the time frame, let's get back to that morning. What's her story about what she does when she realizes that he's in the suitcase? I've got to think that she unzips it, right?
So ostensibly she unzips it, realizes she cannot wake him up. And this is at 11 o'clock in the morning. Her first response is to call her ex-husband. So she called her ex-husband. Her ex-husband came over. She insisted he come over. He also saw that George was unresponsive and said they needed to call 911. And then he went outside and waited until the police arrived.
That is
so I don't know how long it took him to get there. Police arrived at 1 o'clock.
And so police aren't there till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And at a minimum, I mean, the latest that he could have gotten in there was 11, 12 at night. To me, this is a big piece of the story, a big piece of the case, because you're talking about, okay, you're playing hide and seek, things go awry, whatever. This is overnight. This is through the morning into the afternoon that George Torres is inside that suitcase. The other question a lot of people have had is about, how does he even get in there? But my understanding, George Torres was, he wasn't a huge man. I mean, he was relatively small. He was thin, not super tall. So in terms of his size, if you had to describe him, Lauren, or have they given a weight and a height in some of the documents? Do we know that?
I haven't seen it. I'm not great with those numbers, and I can't say that I've ever tried to put humans into a suitcase, so I don't know how well or how badly you would fit. But what Sarah does tell the police is that he got in willingly. They were laughing about it, and that Sarah zipped him up. But 2 of his fingers were sticking out of the suitcase, and they were having trouble getting them in. And she noted that the handle on the zipper was broken, and they were able to zip it closed with a paperclip. So it was a broken suitcase. The zipper was broken, but she still maintained he would find his own way out.
All right, Dr. Priya Banerjee, back with us. The question I have for you, How long could he survive in that suitcase with it zipped shut? We've got this 12, potentially 12 plus hours that he's in there, but how long would it take for him to no longer be able to survive?
Well, like Lauren said, it's not an experiment we run in any kind of way, with real people. He does look thin, and obviously he was able to fold up. I don't expect that to be a roomy suitcase. And why I say that is your breathing is dependent on your chest and belly, right, rising and falling. So being able to take deep breaths. And if you're scrunched forward or folded into a suitcase, at that point, your neck, everything is scrunched, right? So it doesn't even have the room to expand. And then someone's going to get real tired, right? Between the stress of being in there, using up energy. And then this doesn't seem like a thin cloth. It looks like a more rugged, even though the zipper's broken. So it's not going to be so breathable that oxygen's going to get in. So I'm treating it as sort of a closed space. And as soon as that air quality, the oxygen runs out, that's it. It's going to be minutes. We do know the physiology of someone being strangled. It's going to be longer than that because it's going to take longer for the air to, oxygen to run out. But it's not 11 hours. It's going to be soon. And it's traumatic to think that he's asking for help and he's laughing.
And is he realizing what's happening? Like, at what point?
Absolutely.
Does he realize that, oh my goodness, this could be the end?
Well, I think it's sort of a slippery slope, right? He's going to become more confused as the oxygen goes down, right? He's going to become weaker. So it's both expending energy and using up the oxygen. So that means he's going to become tired and his brain's going to become foggy. But she's also overtly laughing at him, right?
Yeah.
So if he's not, maybe she even removed herself before he dies. That's even scarier. No one's there at the end. So I just think it's awful to think about.
Okay, we've got more to uncover, and in this case, coming up next, how did the suitcase flip over?
Yeah, that's going to be a huge.
Sarah.
That's going to be huge.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Sarah.
Sarah Boone is charged with second-degree murder after her boyfriend suffocated inside of a suitcase.
He's in the suitcase still.
There are multiple domestic violence incidents.
You two hitting each other.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
He told you, Sarah, I can't breathe.
Horrible.
George Torres locked inside of a suitcase, begging for help.
I thought he was okay.
The Suitcase Murder Trial. Live coverage starting October 7th on Court TV.
We have a puzzle that we started in there. Okay. We've been doing art, taking stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night. Okay. So then it's like, we decided to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So he gets in the suitcase. The problem is I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning, when I found it. Before you called? Yes.
1 o'clock right now.
I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, "Oh, he's in the suitcase still." And that's when I found him, and I took him out, and I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys. And I fell asleep, so I don't know if he suffocated or like had an aneurysm or a heart attack or what.
What kind of medical conditions did he have?
None that I know of.
Nothing that you know of.
None
You
that
didn't
I
take
know
any
of.
medical?
No. All we had was a bottle of wine.
12 hours locked inside of a suitcase. It's not going to be an aneurysm that's going to take your life. So I wanted to, I said there's more than one video. There's 2 videos. The second one's a little bit shorter, but I want to show you the second video as we watch it and listen to it. Take a close look, because it's interesting to see the positioning of the suitcase.
Yeah, she thinks non-intentional means, oh, I'm going to get away with this. Oh, please.
Sir.
So the
This grieves me
positioning of the
just watching
suitcase,
it.
where it is on the floor, and you heard George was still alive there saying Sarah, again, pleading for his life. Let's take a look at the first video next to the second video. And the one thing that's clear to me is that it's not in the same position. It's moved. It is.
Oh.
It's on its back on one, and then it's on the other side in the other picture. So it's not stationary. It's not like he's in the suitcase, he's locked in, and the suitcase stays there. Something else is at play here. Brings me to my next question, which is, how did the suitcase flip over? What's going on there? Is it him? Is she torturing him? What exactly is going on here that changes the position of that suitcase? With me, Court TV digital content producer Lauren Silver and forensic pathologist Dr. Priya Banerjee. Lauren, is there any evidence or statements relative to the positioning of the suitcase? Because it's obviously on different sides, flipped over from video 1 to video 2.
Well, I combed through the documents, and she is very clear that she had been upstairs, the suitcase was downstairs, and they got in the suitcase downstairs. So she says the suitcase was always downstairs. There were some items in there that they wanted to unpack. They took them out. He got in, and then she zipped it up. The only mention of the movement, which is clear in the videos, is by the detectives themselves in the police report, noting on the video that in the first, the suitcase is facing downward, and you can see George is pressing from inside to get out, whereas the second one, it's facing upwards and is moved over to the left side of the living room. It doesn't offer any speculation as to how that happened, and as far as I know, Sarah Boone's never given any explanation.
Let me ask you, Dr. Priya Banerjee, I guess two scenarios. I want to talk about one scenario, though. If she is moving this suitcase around and rolling it around, would you expect to find any particular types of injuries during the autopsy that could perhaps be consistent
Actually,
with
yes,
someone
you
being
would.
locked in a suitcase and sort of tossed around in that suitcase?
Yeah, I don't understand.
He does a lot of hello, Brit. You were right. Some people think that of him, but no, he's definitely not confused. Let me go back and look at some of the comments. I'm trying to do two things at once. Okay, so they're toxic, talking about the landfill. The thing about Hello Brit makes a really good comment. And that is, this guy always sounds confused. It's just his delivery of the questions. LOL. He's a very rhetorical interviewer because a lot of people have these questions. And so he's trying to ask the question, but already knows the answer. And that's sometimes the hard thing. That's right, toxic. So it was flipped. Yeah, all right. Think about it. Your body weight and is in a suitcase, all of you. You can't wiggle. He is so crammed in there. There's no way he can wiggle to flip himself over. I cannot see that happening. She definitely flipped it. And all of the bodily injuries that they're talking about, there's a staircase. She could have drug him up and down the staircase. She could have kicked him. She could have jumped on him. I mean, this woman's crazy enough to do it.
I don't know the
my humble
exact
opinion.
model of the suitcase, but obviously that would be available to my colleagues. Oftentimes, I think you would look for marks, like whether it be contusion, so bruising from any sort of ribbing, handle, the wheels jutting in, any kind of hardware or outhousings. Usually, I mean, it's pretty smooth, but you don't know how he's scrunched up in there. The one thing I want to point out, though, is and this is pure speculation, if it was twisted while he was alive, you can see that the zipper is now on the bottom, right? If we're moving from position one being on the right-hand side of my screen to the side, where it's flipped over on the rug now, the sort of lid, if you will, the zippered portion is now on the floor. That's impossible to extricate yourself from. Even if he's trying to undo the zipper, which is faulty in and of itself, you can see, how is he going to lift the lid off? Even if he's trying to kick, I don't think it's so small. A grown man, even if he's petite, is going to have a very difficult time getting out.
Now, there's a video posted on Deep Dive True Crime on YouTube, which appears to feature audio from a police interview with Sarah Boone's neighbor. Now, in it, he describes hearing a loud crash. Let's take a listen.
Do you recall hearing anything coming from apartment 3 while you were, after you had gotten home?
Around 10:30 or 11 o'clock, there was a very loud crashing sound where I believe, I'm not sure, I haven't even been in there hard on my roommate, but I believe it's the location of the staircase.
Okay, so
a little bit above.
A very loud, you said crashing sound?
Yeah, like it sounded like something had been like falling down the stairs. Because it started up high and then it ended low.
Okay, Dr. Priya Banerjee, if this suitcase with a man inside shut is rolled down a staircase, what type of injuries would you expect? And would you expect someone to still be conscious and be able to talk the way George was when he was begging for his life?
Sure. Just to clarify, are you asking whether he's already inside the suitcase as he goes down the stairs?
Oh, yeah, inside the suitcase being rolled down the stairs.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother can of worms. You can imagine as that tumbling motion is in there, he could bang around, and at least, I know it's a soft-sided suitcase, but there has to be some reinforcement frame in there. Those can add, bumps and bruises to him. So you should see some unexplained injuries in that source. I don't think there's any significant head trauma. From what I read about his cause of death, it was all related to the suffocation.
Dr. Priya Banerjee, Lauren Silver, thank you both so much. A lot more to uncover. I'm Benny Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.
We're going to have another little commercial break here. I'm a little perplexed by what, trying to put this in a polite way without coming across as snobby as hell. Okay. I won't say it 'cause
herself, taunting the victim, George Torres, while he begged for his life from inside a suitcase. That inexplicable behavior is what she'll need to explain at trial. Here's the story.
Will need much.
Sarah Boone and George Torres were involved in an on-again, off-again tumultuous relationship filled with accusations of cheating and abuse. But on February 23rd, 2020, Sarah and George were together at her home, spending some time together drinking. But at some point that night, for some reason, George ended up locked inside of a suitcase while Sarah taunted him as she recorded a video. George tragically died, and now Sarah is facing murder charges, and there are still many lingering questions in this case about their relationship and exactly why Sarah didn't open that suitcase and just let George out.
Sometimes going into a trial, we know some of the facts and we know a little bit about the defendant and what they may or may not have said. This case is different. Sarah Boone, from the 911 call to the interview/interrogation to the body cam video from the responding officers. We get to hear her tell her story. So I want to play for you right now body cam video from the next day when you have the responding officer speaking with Sarah Boone and trying to get an understanding of what's going on here. Let's take a look.
We have a puzzle that we started in there. Okay. We've been doing art, trying to take the stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night. Okay. So then it's like we decided to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So he gets in the suitcase. Okay. Who is this guy? That's my ex-husband, my former husband. How did he live here with you guys? No, I called him over here. Okay. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So then he came over here. Here, let's talk in private. I called you guys. I tried to
911. You don't call your boyfriend
The
first.
problem is I fell asleep.
With that, y'all.
I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning. When I found it. Before you called? Yes. 1 o'clock right now. I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, "Oh, he's in the suitcase still." And that's when I found him, and I took him out, and I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys.
Did he get here before the fire department got here?
Who?
Your husband or your ex-husband?
Yes.
Okay. Where does he live at?
Right down the street.
Okay. So you were praying and who did him up in?
I did, but then I fell asleep.
Okay, stop.
Oh, the wine is driving me crazy.
I fell asleep, so I don't know if he suffocated or if I had an aneurysm or a heart attack or what.
What kind of medical conditions did he have?
None that I know of.
Nothing that you know of.
None that I know of. No. All we had was a bottle of wine. Literally, just a bottle of wine.
Okay.
Doing puzzle artwork. Then we decided to play hide and seek.
Hi, Robin.
That's all that happened.
Joining us. Yay, you are
So
awesome.
that's her story to the responding officer. But as I told you, it's not the only person she's talking to.
Yeah, I understand.
And that her story or her statements are recorded. So that brings me to my next question, and it's an important one for the trial. Is Sarah Boone's story consistent? How many times have we seen cases where stories change and you hear those arguments in the courtroom that the story has evolved, the story has changed? Well, is her story consistent here with what happened? Joining me, Sarah Boone's new attorney, James Owens, is with us. And James, I understand you're preparing for trial, so I know there may be some things you can't talk about. I just want to let the viewers know that's part of the deal when we bring on the lawyer. And thank you so much for being here. Also with us, Sarah's former defense attorney, Frank Bankowitz. So thank you both for being here. I do appreciate it. So I wanted to point out a couple of scenarios here and kind of get your take on it. And I'll begin with Sarah Boone talking about when she woke up. In one statement, Sarah woke up to her cell phone ringing multiple times around 1100 hours. This is in a police statement. She went downstairs, did not see George anywhere in the apartment. She then realizes that he was possibly still inside the suitcase. Sarah unzipped the suitcase and found George unresponsive and not breathing. However, on the body cam video, I want to play that so we can see if it's consistent with that version.
When did you do CPR?
This morning. When I found it.
Before you called?
Yes.
1 o'clock right now.
I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever.
Okay, so James, is there a problem here in when she's getting up, or is this story consistent, at least this part, of when she gets up the following morning?
Thanks for having me, Vinny. I don't think she had a watch on every time they're asking her questions about the times. I'm guessing, trying to give them an answer. So I don't think she should be looked down upon or considered that she's being evasive. I just think she didn't know the time frame.
Frank, from your perspective, is there a problem with her story, or is it something that is consistent enough for a jury to say, hey, every time she's telling the story, she's telling the same story about what happened that morning?
Well, I don't know that you can point to inconsistencies. I think it's she's nervous, she's upset. She's basically kind of in a panic mode from what I see in the video and what I've seen in the past. And I don't know that you can point to those as being inconsistencies.
I want to show go to another issue here, which is the state of mind that night and what was happening. First, Sarah mentioned that she and George had been consuming alcohol during the night, and she went upstairs and passed out in her bed. But here she is in her interview talking about the same issue of drinking that night.
You told me but you told me on recording, like, that you were not drunk, he was not drunk, you guys were having a good time.
I can't get drunk. Number one, I do not want to get drunk. I don't like being non-compos mentis, having my wits about myself. I don't like feeling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just saying, you're making it sound like he's a raging alcoholic today, and yesterday I was kind of asking you those questions, and you're like a little defensive, like, no, we're not alcoholics.
I'm not.
We are not, but you guys were both sober on Sunday, to your knowledge, because when I said you went and passed out, you were like, no, I didn't pass out, I just fell asleep. So now it's kind of like, what is it? Were you guys drinking and it got out of hand and it got physical?
No.
Or is it?
Sunday was one of the better days that we have had in quite some time.
So where were you guys at on drunkenness, not drunkenness on Sunday? You told us you weren't drunk.
No, I was not drunk.
Right.
I was not drunk.
Okay, James, from the beginning of my coverage of the story, that's always been a big issue because you listen to the voice, it sounds like she's under the influence. Is this a problem, the fact that she seems to be denying that they were drinking, denying that she was drunk, or was she actually sober that night?
No.
No, I think they were drinking, and I think that earlier in the day, she to the Publix, which is a short distance away from their apartment.
How many of you hit the like button? Because I have the number so I can see it. How many of you, by the showing of hitting the like button, think that this was a wise thing for this guy to do by going live on a court TV and discussing this case by explaining what he's getting ready to do? I don't find that wise as an attorney. If I'm working on a case for a client, like hell am I going to go live? Because anything you say can and will be used. Not going to do it.
And then later on the day, he went a second time to Publix and got another bottle. So both of those and found in the garbage can, and the receipts were found somewhere in the apartment. So they were the only in the apartment that night. So they both consumed. So they did drink quite a bit.
Frank Mankiewicz, let me ask you about that issue of the drinking. Is that a huge problem for Sarah Boone that they were drinking, or how does this play in front of a jury, and what does it mean?
Well, I would agree with Mr. Owens. They were drinking a lot. They consumed 2 full bottles of wine. They finished one and went out and bought a second and finished it. Whether in her mind at that point in time she can establish whether she was drunk or not, I think that's going to be a question for the jury. And they're going to have to look at all these tapes and look at the actual facts as to what she did, where she had gone, and the fact that she, quote, fell asleep, to me is consistent with being passed out. But that's to me. Fortunately, I don't have to deal with that. Mr. Owens does.
And Mr. Owens, number 9, will be representing Sarah Boone at the trial.
Oh my God, did you see him laughing? He was like, let's hear that again. That was awesome.
And Mr. Owens, number 9, will be representing Sarah Boone at the trial. This is a big one now. I think this is probably the biggest one if there is an inconsistency.
He's like, I wash my hands of her.
From the beginning, it seems that Sarah was talking about playing a game of hide and seek, that George willingly got into the suitcase. Sarah zipped the suitcase up, and they were both laughing as she zipped him into the suitcase. But now I want to play the last time, James, you were in court talking about what Sarah's defense is going to be in this case.
Judge, the state doesn't know what happened the 2 minutes prior, or the minutes leading up to, the time leading up to the 2-minute video. The state doesn't know what happened after the 2-minute video. Only Sarah Boone can testify to that.
So are you
That's
going
for her to
put her on the
testify
stand?
to.
Does that mean she's going to be on
Florida,
the
the
stand?
appellant has not cited, nor is our research located, any Florida case holding that evidence of battered spouse syndrome is admissible where the defendant claims accident rather than self-defense.
Who claims accident?
Are you claiming self-defense?
Yes.
Well, that's the first time that I've heard that.
Judge, I just mentioned it a while ago.
The word self-defense never came out of your mouth.
Judge.
Words that you believe that the state's position is, what you believe that they're going to try to establish, that we don't know what happened before and after that video. The word self-defense have never been uttered this afternoon.
Judge, for the record, we're claiming self-defense. We're utilizing the battered spouse syndrome in conjunction with that defense.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for
Not
clarifying.
accident, as they want to allege.
Okay.
Okay, James, let me ask you, if they're laughing, if she says they're laughing when she zipped him in, how does that equal self-defense? Is that inconsistent?
Well, like I said in court, the video is only 2 minutes long that Sarah recorded of George in the suitcase. So no one but Sarah knows what happened prior to.
That is so true.
Recorded, and no one but Sarah knows what happened. Turned off the video. So her to testify to and explain what happened.
All right, James Owens and Frank Bankowitz staying with us. Still to come. Was there a history of domestic violence?
Sometimes I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I'm afraid of it.
Where you drive, domestic violence.
I'm afraid of his family.
I'm really struggling with this domestic violence, and please don't bite my head off from what I'm about ready to say. Okay, I just want to talk about this. Okay, when you have somebody who's going through the DV, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling for the words. How do I put this? I'm trying to be very when somebody is in a relationship and they have spats, they've been drinking, they get themselves drunk, they go in and have spats, all of that kind of stuff. I get it. Some people may label that DV. However, I do not. DV may definitely happen What is this I got sent today? Oh, okay, I already got it. Thank you. So I'm trying to put this in a way that doesn't offend people. Okay. So when I'm sitting here and I'm in a relationship and we get drunk and we have spats and there's some physical altercations going back and forth. Back and forth. For me, it's bad. When I think of DV, I think of one-sided. And I don't know what I have on my mouth. Y'all should have told me I had food on my mouth. I see it as more one-sided. I mean, yes, it can be both ways, but in this case, I don't think it was to that level. I don't think it was to that severity level that this has been DV. I don't see any evidence or proof or anything that he manipulated her. I don't see in any evidence or proof that he confined her, controlled her. I mean, everything I hear and have seen thus far, and once again, I'm only going by what I've seen thus far, so I'm not saying this is the gospel truth and this is the way it was, but what I am saying is that with the videos we've seen, she's accused him of doing this, accused him of doing that, but she's also been arrested for DV for that's what they're calling her, battered spouse or whatever, because she was strangulating him. And, you know, she accused him of hitting him. He may have said, yes, I struck her back. And boom, he's arrested and gets that label. I mean, look at Johnny Depp. When Johnny Depp started, I was all on Amber Heard's side, y'all. I knew Johnny Depp only from the movies. I didn't know anything about his character. I didn't know anything about a drinking problem. I didn't know anything else about him. I just loved his movies. And I got angry when I heard what he was charged with. And I immediately, he's guilty as hell, supported her. And then I watched the trial and I went, So where does self-defense cross the line into battered spouse? What if she started it every time? She hit him. She yelled at him. Look at what she did in this video. If that's an indication of what happened, so she starts the fight, she's hitting him, she's going off on him, and he defends himself. I'm struggling at this point to label this a battered spouse syndrome or DV. At this point, and he can't defend himself in court. He can't. That's why I struggle. Now, once this continues and we get through trial, if there's evidence that said it was, I'm going to jump on that. Okay, it was. But right now, I'm on the devil's advocate side. I haven't seen anything that shows me that this is that. And if I'm sitting on a jury, it ain't going to fly with me.
Successful true crime TV shows ever.
This is crazy.
Now has a new home on America's original true crime obsession, 48 Hours on Court TV. Coming up next on Court TV.
Sarah Boone is charged with second-degree murder after her boyfriend suffocated inside of a suitcase.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
I thought he was okay.
The Suitcase Murder Trial. Live coverage starting October 7th on Court TV.
Sometimes I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I'm afraid of that wine. I'm afraid of his family. My son can't come over here because he's here.
That's body camera video from a different incident involving Sarah Boone and George Torres. And you hear some fear in the voice of Sarah Boone there. I want to go back now to the suitcase video because I want you to listen closely to what Sarah Boone is saying.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Look, he can't even push his strength.
Sarah.
You.
Did y'all see that? Watch it again. He is pushing up, trying to breathe. This infuriates me to see. That's all he can do.
You.
Sarah.
He's on his side, got his head probably in the lower left-hand corner, and he's trying
That's
to
my name.
inhale. He's
Don't
trying
wear it up.
to breathe.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do and you choke me.
This is for everything. That's what you get when you choke me. It brings me to my next question, which I think will be a major issue in this case. Was there a history of domestic violence? Sarah Boone, George Torres. Still with me, Sarah Boone's new attorney, James Owens, and her former attorney, Frank Bankowitz. Before we talk about this, I want to show one more video from another domestic violence incident. This one's from September 4th of 2019.
George was hiding in the bathtub upstairs. Okay?
Yes.
So, he gave me his side of things. I need you to give me your side of things in person right here. I know we kind of talked on the phone, but I need you to tell me what happened tonight. So what happened?
Okay, well, pardon my language, because it's not me. I was called a and
Okay.
and I'm not a mother to my son.
Okay.
All the while, nonetheless, I was sleeping before that.
Okay. So you were woken up to him calling you names. Is that what you're saying?
I thought that I'm like, feed the beast, go outside and smoke a cigarette with him.
Okay.
Try to calm things down. Well, the whole time I was there saying nothing. Nothing. I was called names.
Okay. So you guys were smoking a cigarette and he was calling you names, being verbally aggressive with you. Verbally abusive.
Before that, where I'm like, I don't want to get hit anymore. So I'm just going to go downstairs and smoke a cigarette with him to try to calm him down.
Okay. So you're saying, okay, I'm trying to get a timeline of things. So start from the beginning and give me the timeline.
Was that I was asleep?
I don't, not literal time, but in a reference of incidents, how they occurred tonight.
I was asleep, and again, he comes in and wakes me up.
He wakes you up. Okay.
He's out of sorts.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure things out.
Okay.
Where it's like, don't make it worse. Just go downstairs with him. Because he gets mad at me because I go to sleep.
Okay.
I go downstairs, smoke a cigarette. The whole time I'm being belittled.
Okay.
Pardon me for saying talk about.
Okay. Frank Bankowitz. Is there a history of domestic violence in this relationship? And if so, how serious?
Absolutely. There's a long history of domestic violence, and I'm sure all of that's going to come out or has already come out with regard to the battered spouse defense. That's one of the principal elements is to establish a history of abuse. And there was a long history of abuse in this case, history of hospitalizations, history of broken bones, history of
Where's
arrests.
this history? Where is this history? Where have we seen this? Have we seen this history, y'all? Have we? Have y'all seen it? Where's the history? I'm like, show us. Give me the proof. Show me. That's right. Hold on a sec, guys. I don't get it. Show me the history. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Hi, Lynn and SC. Hi, Brax. Oh, I keep forgetting to do this, guys. My brain is just not engaged today. It ain't engaged. It just ain't. It just ain't. I'm so sorry. I need you to forgive me. Where is it? There it is. Y'all, I need to edit that. I did. For everybody who subscribes, you get one entry. You put I sub. And if you become a member, you get 10 additional. So you get up to 11 entries for a Starbucks tumbler giveaway happening on October 31st. I'm trying to reach 3,100 subs by the 31st. Back to the comments. Yes, Brax, it is both of them. Both of them. Okay, let's get back to it.
It's a classic situation of battered spouse syndrome.
I don't think it's classic, dude.
I want to put this up on the screen. Sarah stated, this is June 15th, 2019. She was beaten up, face, head, legs, and arms. She stated that she begged George to stop. And George stated, "You're going to die." Sarah stated that George punched her in the head, flung her off the bed. Sarah stated this incident occurred due to George being upset about Sarah speaking to a male. James Owens, this history that we are uncovering here, is the jury going to see and hear about this history?
Yes. The file a notice of intent to rely on, and in the notice and in the amended notice, we alleged that there were prior incidences of abuse, and Dr. Julie Harper to testify on that issue. So yes, there is cooperation in the terms of a prior history of George and emotionally and sexually.
Guys, I got to be back. I have a friend that's
abusing
been injured.
Sarah Boone.
I'm going to go check on her. I'll return.
And I'm looking here at George's arrest history. It looks like June 15th, arrested for battery. June 18th, arrested for violation of pretrial release, making contact with Sarah when he wasn't supposed to. August 28th, 2019, a battery arrest. September 4th, arrested for battery. Is all of this connected to Sarah, or are there other cases that are out there? And do you expect the jury to hear the history of George Torres, James?
Yes, I believe those instances relate to the domestic George and Sarah, and I believe there is other incidences. As far as how much comes in, there are rules that come into play in the evidence.
Okay.
I have to make some decisions about that.
James, I hate to cut you off, but we are out of time. James Owens, we appreciate it. Frank Bankowitz, thank you both so much. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding this case has been, when will this trial happen? Sarah Boone on lawyer number 9, but believe it or not, it looks like this time it will happen. We'll see the trial right here on Court TV. The question is, what will the jury say at the end of all of this? I'm Vinny Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lawyer You Know podcast, where we're going to break down true crime cases and stories. And I said off the top that a lot of them I won't know much about. And the guest is going to bring the details, bring the summary, let us know what the case is that we're talking about. I'll answer questions and ask some questions about the details, but this is not one of those cases. This is a case that is near and dear to my heart, that we've been following basically from the jump, all the pretrial motions, all the pretrial action. But I'm thankful that my wife and guest today, Whitney Tragos, has decided to jump into this case, one that surely shocks the system, and that is the case of Sarah Boone and hide and seek gone wrong. So Whitney, go ahead. Tell us what this case is about, and let's get into it.
So a typical date night for a couple, a little dinner, maybe some wine, and then some games, which I think most couples can relate to. We like to do that ourselves.
Love games.
Have a little date night. So it started out just like that. They were enjoying each other's company. They were drinking some wine together, and then decided to play hide and seek. All of that was fine and dandy. Sarah Boone then falls asleep. She wakes up the next morning and can't seem to find her partner. And may I just interject that in our last house, you and I used to play hide and seek often with our kids, and we could never find you. And to this day, I asked you in our last home, where are you? Where are you hiding? Like, for we would look for you forever. We could never find you.
I can't give away my secrets.
And that's exactly what you would tell me. And to this day, it still keeps me up at night. We're not even in that house anymore. You still will not share with me where you've been hiding. You didn't want to, give it away. So all this to say, if I could have fallen asleep, maybe I would not have been able to find you. So she wakes up and then realizes that her partner had spent the night in a suitcase. She alerts the authorities.
Well, first, if I could interject,
Sure.
she goes downstairs, finds him, opens a suitcase. He is no longer alive.
Correct.
And it's very obvious to her that he's dead. She wakes up in the morning, and there'll be details we'll fill in later that really give this story some shock and awe. But so she goes to bed after playing hide and seek, goes downstairs, finds him in a suitcase, then she calls the cops and they
I'll be right back.
Yes, after she had slept all night and he had
Mods,
been in
can
the
you
suitcase
moderate?
all night. So she calls the cops. The cops obviously come. They're investigating this scenario. She tells them that exact story. And that is where it all starts to unfold.
And her version of the events is basically, we're playing hide and seek. We drink some wine. Absolutely not drunk. I'm not drunk. By the way, after all this happens, she goes to the interrogation room with law enforcement for hours trying to talk her way out of this, which, just a little legal tip, never works. Don't talk to the cops.
Take her or call her. She can't
Demand
walk
you have a
out
lawyer
with
there with you.
Discus.
Invoke your Fifth Amendment
Could
right
be a
to
lot
remain
of things.
silent.
She's
But
sitting here
she goes
screaming
there
in
and she tells
pain.
the story. She keeps saying this was unintentional. This was unintentional. This was unintentional. She says he wanted to get in, but she also admits she helped him get in or put him in. But she left a little space for him to be able to get out. All these little details she was telling. But then as the case continues to unravel, we start to hear
You
other
can stay
details.
here with
Like
me.
when she got up in the
Definitely.
morning, it's not like she
We were
sprung out of her
around
bed at 8
here
o'clock.
in your
I think it
car.
was like noon or something. She was in bed for half the day before she even got up to figure out where is George, her fiance. And we also find out from the cops, from questions, that there have been some domestic violence accusations going back and forth, some arrests, some charges back and forth between Sarah and George, her and her fiance. He also has a criminal history. She also says his family hates her. So all of these things that start to make you think, things that make you go, it's like the cops are starting to pick up something's not right here. So they keep grilling her, all the while knowing they're going to arrest her, right? She has said she put her boyfriend in a suitcase. But what does she say about how the night went? What was their interaction that night? Do you remember what she said about, like, were they fighting? Was it good? How were the vibes that night?
She maintained that the vibes were peachy, that it was your average date night. I mean, I don't know if it occurred to her that that's not how you play hide and seek, but if there's only two people playing and you are assisting with the hiding spot, it's not really how you play the game.
Well, it seems like he may have won the battle of that round of hide and seek, but she won the war in their battle back and forth with each other, even physically, because he never made it out alive to tell the story. So at this point, the cops only have Sarah Boone's story. So how are they going to prove this? Was this an accidental killing, some kind of manslaughter, or even involuntary manslaughter? Was there alcohol involved? Or was this some sort of intentional killing? What was the plan? Things like that. That's what law enforcement had to try and figure out. And throughout the interrogation, actually, before we get to the interrogation, let's play a little clip of how Sarah Boone explains what happened that night. And this is outside her house when law enforcement shows up, her explaining, what happened with the hide and seek, et cetera, et cetera.
Woke up. He thought it'd be funny to be put in the suitcase, so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna joke with you and I'll zip you up and make him, squirm a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep, so I came downstairs and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. And that's when I found him and I took him out.
Susan.
So she says, he thought it'd be funny to be in the suitcase, so it was his idea, but then she makes an admission that I zipped him up in the suitcase, okay? So who was taking action to cause his death? Her zipping him up in the suitcase, not great. Then she says, and then I fell asleep. And that's the story, exactly how you explained it. When she's being interrogated, she adds in exactly what you said. She was peachy, everything was great, relationship was going great. We were all happy with each other. We loved each other. No issues. Our issues were in the past. We were working towards something better. So she's telling all the cops all this stuff.
Yep.
Then they start to find more information. They find receipts of multiple bottles of wine. Is that a big deal? No, not necessarily. Were they drinking wine? No, not a big deal. But she says absolutely she was not drunk. She also says George gets physical when he starts to drink. So those little details start to trickle out. Then, as you just heard from Sarah Boone's own mouth, George thought it'd be funny to be in the suitcase. She zipped him up, then she fell asleep. That's the whole story, right? Well, until potentially the most damning piece of evidence comes out against Sarah Boone, when law enforcement gets her phone and they pull the videos that she took on her phone. And there's really only two explanations for this. Either one, she didn't think they were going to find it, or two, she didn't remember because of how much she had to drink that she filmed this video. And I will give you a warning here before we watch this video if you don't want to watch it, because it is of George in the suitcase, and you can hear him literally begging for his life. So let's take a look at that now.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
So for those of you who are just listening to the audio portion of this, there is a green normal size suitcase, I'll add. There's no way he fits in that comfortably. Which would make me agree he probably did choose or allow her to put him in there, whatever it may have been. But he's begging for his life. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just saying he's clearly awake, coherent while he's in there as he's talking from it. So he had to have assisted in getting in there.
Literally begging, Sarah, please. Sarah, I can't breathe. There's still another minute of this we're going to listen to, but you can hear a slurred speech of a female who now, as we've gotten to know Sarah Boone throughout her litigation, which is a wild part of this story we'll get to as well, that is her voice saying, for everything you did to me. And here is where it starts to go wrong for Sarah Boone, because when you tell the cops one thing and immediately they have irrefutable, objective evidence proving you're lying, you're usually screwed at that point.
Sarah.
Fuck you.
Sarah.
F you with a laugh. Again, does this look unintentional? Does it look like she just put him in and then went and fell asleep, oopsie, and wakes up the next morning?
Fuck you.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Sarah. I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah.
He says, I can't breathe. And she says, that's what you do when you choke me. Okay. And these will be important as we get to the legal aspect of, was it intentional? Was it accidental? What'd she know? What'd she do?
Sarah. Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real or ransom. Might want to give video for it extra. Because I got this.
Sarah.
I can't even understand some of what she's saying because her speech is literally so slurred.
Real or ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you string on me.
Sarah.
That's what it is like when you cheat on me, she said.
Fuck you.
Fucking breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut the fuck up.
And that video is over 2 minutes long. He was already in there. So you can just imagine how long he was in there, what it was like for him in that suitcase, knowing at some point she wasn't going to come and open it, taking his last breaths. He passes away. She gets up in the morning, and now the legal battle ensues. But before we even get to court, she has that multiple hours long interrogation. What did you find interesting about that when you watched it?
Her almost like lack of awareness of actually what was happening or what had the severity of what had happened was surprising to me. She was still maintaining that really this was all just an accident. I don't know what happened. I don't know how we got here. It was chilling almost to see how unserious she really was like taking this. And even to the point where when the cops told her basically like, you're, going to be investigated, like this is, you are being looked into, she was shocked. She couldn't believe it. What do you mean? Like this was an accident. That was very shocking to me.
She did not know she was going to get arrested.
Right.
It is wild if you watch this. And if anybody's on YouTube, you can check out my YouTube channel where I broke down the entirety of that interrogation, the entirety of the video outside her house where she explains what happens, all the hearings, all the letters she's written to the judge. If you want to dig in more to this case, go check out our Sarah Boone playlist. But so she gets arrested. And then what else have you found out about the case? Summarize questions you have. Let's dig into.
Okay, guys, I'm back. I apologize.
Of
Give me a second. I'll
that
stop this.
interview, that interrogation, and her lack of how much of that can be weighed.
Okay, I'm going to catch y'all up. My dear, dear, sweet friend may have a torn meniscus. She is in the shop. We have called her family to come pick her up. So apologizes. We had to, first responder had to take care of. I want to take care of her. So let me say, let me go back. I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. This is a hard situation. I'm reading the comments. She was not in fear of her life. That is exactly true. And that's where I kind of struggle with some of the stuff because I don't believe she was in fear of her life. Yeah, it is a big ouch. And I appreciate your prayers. Right now, she is sitting in my office. We are trying to keep her as comfortable as possible, but it is excruciating. And so we're trying to, her spouse is on the way. And she will be heading to the ER. Okay. So give me a minute, please. Hi, Doodle Noise. I'm sorry. Give me a minute. I'm sorry. Normally, yes, but I have a friend here who hurt her knee and has to go to hospital. So I wasn't here to click on the closed captioning. I'm so sorry. But normally, yes. My friends said that about a week ago, she got out of bed, heard her knee pop, and it was hurting. And then it got better. But right now, she's screaming in pain. So we're waiting for her spouse to come and drive her to the ER. I'm going to find another video. Y'all, awful. I have no ACL in my left. It destroyed. I understand the pain. It was worse than giving birth. And then I have a damaged meniscus in my right. So I understand. Okay. So let me get this up and running and I'll go back and check on her. Boone. Let's find out what we can find on Ms. Boone, some more stuff. That was an interesting interview. I'm really surprised that both of them would get on live. And number one, and number two, I was shocked that her attorney, for any reason, current attorney, for any reason, her lawyer right now, for any reason, would agree to an interview. That's risky. Hold on 1 minute. I'm searching. We have. First thing I did, but now, is this what we just watched? This is a new one. Okay, I'm gonna put this on. This is a new one. I'll be right back. I thank you for so much for your understanding. Nope. We're not gonna do Madeline Soto. I thought it was going to be a Sarah Boone. Let's go. Here we go. By the way, the Carly Craig is asked for a new trial. I don't know why they're asking for a new trial, but they're asking for a new trial. Go figure. Yeah. Understand. I'm also going to be checking, just give me a minute. I'm also checking to see. I would like to replay the Miranda rights, but I'm also going to check and see, do we have any more new documents or posting? Because every time I refresh this page, I notice that some of the changes are happening in the filing, but there's no new filings. It's weird. They've deleted some information. They added some information. I mean, they deleted like one of the trial times and dates, and then they added another one. Oh, I know. I can do a lot of things. I can help a lot, but what I can't help is knee pain. I she needs to get an MRI. So we're going to check. I'm going to start this video. Okay. Understand, Kristen, it's very hard to talk and sign at the same time. And move a mouse and look. So I'm talking in English and then I'm going to go back and sign again. Are you okay with that? Doodle noise. If it's okay with you, you understand how hard it is to sign and talk at the same time. I will talk if I'm computering, and then I'll sign again for you. I am searching for video and searching to see if there's any new information on the court website, any new documents. Nothing. Again, there's a lot of you. Yeah. Simcom. A lot of you were not here. There were 3, 4 things posted this morning. The first, let's get this down here. Are y'all hearing me okay? The first thing that went up this morning is the 4th amended witness list receipt for both the prosecution and the defendant. Just electronic filing. So no new information in that. Nothing for us to see. We do not get to see the actual witness list. And then we have a notice of provision means accepting. There's nothing new for us to see. And then there is a document that states that the judge has set for the hearing today. Let me see if Diane can sign for me right now. So give me a minute. I'm going to start this video. I know we've seen it once before, but I think it'd be good to see it again because a lot of the information is that's in this video is what's going to be talked about today.
Seem to get back together. On this night, the two were
Captain was
drinking,
there.
but what happened next is almost inexplicable. George got inside of a suitcase that was then zipped shut. Why and exactly how he got into the suitcase is not 100% clear. But what is clear is that at one point, he wanted to get out. Pleaded with Sarah to open the suitcase, but she refused. Instead, she turned on the video camera on her phone and started to record as George begged for his life. Then, the following morning, she eventually called 911. She said she and George were playing hide and seek, and George ended up in the suitcase. When police responded, they found George dead. Sarah has been charged with second-degree murder now, and the question is, what happened inside that apartment, and why was George in that suitcase? I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Yes, I've got the red tie on. We've got a couple of verdicts we're going to get to this hour. A big day here at Court TV, your front row seat to justice. But what I want to do right now is talk about the next big trial on this network. It's the suitcase murder trial. This story, this case, this defendant has a long history here at Court TV. We started covering this story when it happened, pre-COVID, like way back when. And we've been following it ever since. I would say 6 or 7 times we've been ramping up, getting ready to cover the trial, and then something happened. Usually an attorney leaving the case. Right now, it's different. Right now, it's different. The judge is absolutely set on trying this case. She has an attorney who has volunteered his time to represent her. Saw the story on Court TV and came from out of town down in Florida to represent Sarah Boone. So this thing, for the first time, I really, really, really believe this trial is going to happen. And it's just around the corner, less than 2 weeks away. But let's see, right? Anything can happen, obviously, in our system of justice. Things do happen. Hurricanes happen. But for all the time that we've been covering and tracking the story, this is the first time I'm locked in and building up and ramping up, getting ready for this trial. Now, let's begin with the victim, George Torres. He died inside of a suitcase. That was not a pleasant death. It was not an instantaneous death. He was begging, he was pleading for his life. The jury will see and hear that. You've seen it here in our coverage of the story on the show.
Debate last night?
And that's because Sarah Boone recorded it. She recorded about 2 minutes and change of video of George Torres inside the suitcase begging for his life, and she is literally taunting him. It's video that the day after, it seemed like she didn't even remember making or recording, but she did. And obviously it'll be the most important piece of evidence in all of this, but you're going to hear from the medical examiner. You're going to hear from a lot of witnesses trying to establish the history of this couple and then specifically what happened that night. But it always comes back to this. He died in the suitcase. She recorded it. He's begging for his life and she does nothing to get him out of the suitcase. So what's her defense? We've been saying that from the beginning.
What's her defense going to be? Initially, I was wondering, is it about how he got into the suitcase? What were the circumstances there? But things are becoming a lot clearer now that she has her 9th attorney who is preparing for this trial, was on Court TV with me last night on Vinnie Politan Investigates. So we have a really good idea where they're going, what that side of the case will look like. And yeah, they're fighting the charges. She's not throwing in the towel. She's not admitting to murder in this case. That's not happening. Let me bring in, because we had a big day in court today, Court TV digital content producer Lauren Silver is with us. Big day today. All these hearings that happened just before the trial take on incredible significance in the way the jury's going to hear and see the evidence in the case. So what's the big story today from this hearing?
Well, today was designed to be sort of a calendar hearing, getting all the last minute things set before this goes to trial. And this is going to trial on October 7th. Judge Kranick made that very clear. What wasn't clear was the rest of the hearing. It was more than a little chaotic in the courtroom. As you mentioned, this started pre-COVID. Well, everyone who has survived COVID is familiar with remote learning and remote problems. And that is exactly what happened in the courtroom. Her attorney was remote. He was unable to hear the judge, was just yelling judge in the courtroom. The judge couldn't communicate, and so on, back and forth, all while there are still motions on the table that need to be decided.
And you talk about the chaos, right? You had a hurricane rolling through. Places are flooded. You have an attorney from out of town. You've got a lot of issues here. Let's show folks at home some of the technical difficulties and chaos today.
I am not even sure what he is going to do. Judge?
I need to set this up. Why is my hearing? Okay. They had a lot of technical problems. And people, or one person, got onto Zoom and did not turn their mic off, and they could hear a lot of crazy noise, and it pissed off the judge to the point they cut the live feed. If this is what I'm thinking they're talking about, it was awful.
Hang on, let Mr. J finish his point, sir.
I'm not sure if he's going to be testifying to battered.
Judge? Mr. Owens, we can hear you loud and clear, sir. Judge? Yes, sir, we can hear you. Judge? Mr. Owens, I can hear you. Judge? Sir, I can hear you loud and clear, sir. Judge Kranick?
I see exactly what you mean. And it's a technical difficulty, right? It seems obvious that he couldn't hear what was happening inside the courtroom today. And he's just trying to get in there and let him know.
I'm going to have to step away in a minute to help get her
icing on the cake of a chaotic case.
Yeah.
I'll need you to monitor the live.
What was on the table in terms of what the motions that were being made today?
Right. So no motions were ultimately decided today. The motions are going to require a more extensive hearing. And the major motion on the table right now is a motion to suppress. James Owens, Sarah Boone, wants to suppress the more than 2-hour interrogation that she did at Orange County Sheriff's Office. And in that, she repeatedly says this was a mistake.
How are you?
I don't know what happened. Mistake. We were playing a game. And, everything was friendly, everything was fun, which is very contrary to the battered spouse defense, which is rooted in self-defense.
Right. And you're alleging that you're a victim of abuse. You're alleging that you're acting in self-defense in the moment. And a lot of the statements she made didn't seem to be consistent with that. So they're attempting to have this suppressed, kept out in front of the jury. Let's take a listen to the interrogation the moment where she is read part of her Miranda rights.
Just like we did yesterday. Remember I read you the rights? Your rights? Yeah. So it's the exact same thing, but since I'm asking you follow-up questions, I need to read them to you, okay? All right, so you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me?
No.
And do you understand what I just read you?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
So I guess there the last line is sort of left out of their reading of the Miranda rights. And this is the second time they're doing it because apparently they did it the day before as well.
Exactly. So they are pointing to this Miranda card, and James Owens wants the detectives to testify. He wants the Miranda card. He wants the procedures, all of it on record, because he is maintaining that all of these should be suppressed based on the Miranda card not being read properly. Now, he is also saying he's going to file a second motion that will cover further interrogations on body cam. And the judge is getting him till 11:59 tonight to file those. And as of 10 minutes ago, those still had not been filed.
He's working hard. I mean, he just took the case, a case that 8 other attorneys walked away from because of difficulties with Sarah Boone. But he's all in. He is working hard, James Owens is. Let's hope that Sarah Boone appreciates what he's doing. So he's got a deadline for an additional motion. The judge, as you said, not wavering any of these deadlines, and it's all because this is all going to happen October 7th. Okay, there was something else that came up today that I think a lot of folks at home will be interested in, which was a motion concerning Sarah Boone's hair and makeup.
Yes, well, her clothing had already come up as an issue, and the judge had already agreed that she could wear civilian clothing. There was the question of the shock cuff that she could wear if she was going to be representing herself. So that is taken care of. But now this motion is requesting that she gets professional hairstyling and makeup. James Owens has likened it to male defendants getting a haircut or a shave to look presentable, but yeah, she wants professional hairstyling and makeup for her trial, in addition to civilian clothes. And at the hearing today, Owens did say that he was planning to have someone take her measurements to get her clothes.
Wow. And you know what? That's probably going to come out of Owens' pocket. Like, he's probably going to get her the clothes that she needs. I mean, this attorney going above and beyond. Again, hopefully Sarah Boone is appreciating what he's doing. But professional hair and makeup, that's the first time I've heard that. Like, I've heard, you know, can we have a little bit of makeup? Because you really don't get it when you're in jail waiting for your trial. But professional, like they want the Court TV incredible makeup artist to fly down for the trial. That's insane. Let's take a listen to the prosecutor talking about this.
I believe the shackles portion of the motion has been a ship that has come through here and sailed. And I believe all the clothing issues have been addressed by the court. The only thing that seemed to be new was the hair and makeup. And I did not see any authority cited that specifically said that was permissible. But we don't really have a dog in the fight. If court admin and security staff, however it works, it is going to permit this to perhaps, as far as I know, be the first person to ever have that done in this courthouse. That's between them.
Setting a new precedent, perhaps. What's interesting, I mean, I can't criticize her because it's in my contract for, you know, clothing, hair, and makeup. So I really would be hypocritical if I went after Sarah Boone on this. And she has a lot more at stake than just hosting a show. It's the rest of her life. But still, this is sort of unprecedented. How would you describe her behavior today?
Can you hear me?
She seemed very happy. There was a lot of smiling, a lot of smirking. It looked like she mouthed "I love you" at one point.
To who? Hopefully her lawyer.
Sure. And James Owens did note at the beginning that he couldn't see her because, of course, he was remote and had the judge move the camera so that he could have eyes on her during the hearing.
Wow. This is something.
Our time.
This is something. Now, so there's going to be another pretrial hearing before we get to October 7th?
Oh, guys, this cracks me up.
There's
her smiling makes me laugh. When she thinks she's flirting, it's gross.
going to be testimony. This is going to be on the motion to suppress. And James Owens makes it clear that he wants to hear from all of the detectives who are involved. So we're going to expect to hear from them.
Okay, a testimonial thing. The judge will have to decide about hair and makeup. You know what? I wonder if like day one she gets one hair person and then she fires them, and then we bring in a second hair person, then a third. We'll see how it all develops here. All right, so lock it in. We are guaranteeing as much as we can for the folks at home who've been waiting for this trial, October 7th, right here on your front row seat to justice. But before that, we'll have another pretrial hearing as they get ready for this. And maybe they'll try out some makeup artists for the pretrial hearing. It's Sarah Boone, folks, right? Lauren Silver, Court TV digital content producer. You can read all of her stuff on courttv.com. Amazing work that she does day in and day out. Thanks so much, Lauren. Okay, when we come back, we're going to bring in our think tank, see what they have to say about all of this, plus coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, it's the story everyone is talking about, the shooting death of Kentucky Judge Kevin Mullins, the accused killer, local sheriff Mickey Steins. Why would the sheriff shoot the judge? We investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan.
In every story, in every trial, every case, there's at least two sides to it.
To dive into the latest.
Oh my God.
And breaking true crime stories.
This was a very targeted, very personal attack.
Inside.
I've never seen that in Discovery. I've been incarcerated 3 years.
And outside of the courtroom.
She's a psychopath.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight, 9/8 Central. Only on Court TV.
Sometimes I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of his family. My son can't come over here because he's here.
That's Sarah Boone explaining how she's afraid of George Torres. Police were called, they responded. This is September 4th of 2019, so it's months before George Torres dies inside of the suitcase. I want you to take a listen to more of her explaining this, because she is alleging battered spouse syndrome and self-defense. Does it sound like she is a victim and sort of an ongoing victim in this relationship? Take a listen to the way she explains it all to the responding officer.
Start from the beginning and give me the timeline.
I was asleep.
I don't, not literal time, but in a reference of incidents, how they occurred tonight.
I was asleep, and again, he comes in and wakes me up.
He wakes you up. Okay.
He's out of sorts.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure things out.
Okay.
Where it's like, don't make it worse. Just go downstairs with him. Because he gets mad at me because I go to sleep.
Okay.
I go downstairs, smoke a cigarette. The whole time I'm being belittled.
Okay.
Pardon me for saying talk about.
And then?
I walked off barefoot. Okay, everyone. I will be back. We need to wheel her to the car so she can go to the ER. So this is going to stay playing. And then when I'm finished, I'll come right back. It'll be a few minutes. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. For those who just joined, my friend hurt her knee real bad. Has to go to the hospital.
Okay, so when did he hit you? He said he hit you.
That was in the bedroom.
When? I just asked for a timeline.
He woke me up.
Okay. He woke you up. By hitting you? Is that what you're telling me? Or what happened? I need you to tell me.
The door open. He's kicked the
You're adding a lot of details that I need you to be very concise with.
Sir?
When I'm telling you, I need a timeline of the events.
Yes.
How am I going to corroborate your story?
He kicked the door open. 4 times. Fourth time, I gave in. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I got punched in my ear. On the 4th time. Where I was like, don't do it anymore. Just go downstairs. Go smoke a cigarette.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
Okay.
And then I walked off barefoot.
Okay. And on the phone, you told me that you attacked him as well.
I didn't attack him.
You said you exchanged, you had a physical altercation on the phone. That's what you told me.
I pulled him off of me.
He said he has marks because I was fighting for my life.
I was being honest with you.
Okay. So what happened? Because you didn't include any of that in there.
This is what happened.
But you didn't include any of that information in the story you just told me. So I'm trying to get a timeline of what happened.
Then I come downstairs.
I'm gonna go help him. And then get it in the
So
car.
he kicks the door open.
4 times.
He kicks the door open 4 times. And then what?
Yeah, double O.
And then what happens?
So he's talking about his kids. Pardon me for saying, and not a mother.
Okay.
I'm just trying to sleep.
Okay.
So, feed the beast. Go downstairs. That's after this.
So why are you leaving that out? You're not telling me how that happened. Again, that's like the 3rd time you've done that.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. He got on top of me and punched me in my
That's what I want you to tell me.
Yeah.
And I've asked you like 4 or 5 times.
Hey, well, I didn't know you needed that specific.
You didn't even include it at all.
Me and here, I saw light.
Some level of frustration there from the officer, right? Trying to get the story straight. And I guess there was a prior story because there was a phone call before that. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining me tonight, former senior homicide prosecutor, founder of Villalona Law, Bernardo Villalona, and chief public defender for Oakland County, Michigan, who represented the Oxford High School shooter, Paulette Lofton, is with us. And finally, the attorney who represented Johnny Depp in his legendary case. He won, we all know that. And fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, Ben Chu, is with us. Great to see everyone. Bernardo, what are you hearing? She's alleging that she's a battered spouse, so we're gonna get into her history. This is one of those incidents, I guess, that they're gonna draw upon from September of 2019. What are you hearing here?
Well, I'm more focused on the officer because the officer is displaying that he doesn't believe what she's saying. Like, he's not believing her story. Like, he's constantly trying to get some more details or get answers. And if they decide that they're going to play this in front of a jury, it's going to be a huge issue for Sarah Boone, because you have the first officer that responds to the scene, that is looking at you, that's getting these feelings and is not believing you. So that's a huge concern for Sarah Boone.
Paulette, what are your thoughts here? How difficult to establish battered spouse syndrome?
It is extremely difficult. I have tried it before. I think with this set of facts and the fact that he was in a suitcase, which I think it may be impossible to put yourself inside a suitcase and zip it in such a manner that you couldn't then get out of. So I think the jury would have so many questions that if she was able to put him in the suitcase, one would assume that she would be safe. So why didn't she call the police then? Or why didn't she try to escape at that point? So I think it's going to be difficult based on this video and based on the other facts of this case.
All right, Ben Chu, I want you to take a listen to a little bit more of Sarah Boone. I know you want to hear more from Sarah. Here she is in her interrogation describing some of the other incidents. So this is going to be more of her historical recollection of what was happening in this relationship.
I don't think the last physical was probably, you said, I think, what, a month ago? Where you got the injury, right? You said that was a month ago?
A few weeks, give or take, yeah.
A few weeks. That was the last, like, physical altercation between the two of you? You said a month ago he hit you with a curtain rod.
Yeah, with a curtain rod. That's why I can't believe you guys didn't take that either.
Wow.
Like, we've been good. I don't know if, like, it's since the last time he got out of jail.
Oh, no, you said you guys have been good. What's your definition?
I've been good. I don't think you all understand. He comes at me all the time. He comes at me. So it's either I flee or try to go upstairs and go to sleep. That's usually what it is. And I don't know if you talk to Brian about any of that, but most of the time when I flee, I go over there. So.
Right, but you're saying that you guys have been good, and when I asked you yesterday, there hasn't, the last incident that you could remember was the curtain rod incident, which you said was a month ago, so.
Give or take.
Right, so what do you mean by he comes after you? Like,
he gets belligerently drunk. Like, I don't know if y'all have looked through my phone yet and seen any of the pictures and the videos that I have taken. And at one point, I started documenting everything. Okay. So you all will see in my pictures, bloody fingers, split foreheads, he split my nose. I've got this. Right. I don't know if Brian told you about it, where I had to have I had one really bad surgery, but then it got really, 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 really bad where I had to go like 4 or 5 more times afterwards for them to tend to it. And then poking me in the back of the leg. Right. So
Then why are you still with him?
Everybody asks me that. When I tell you guys this, I really love him. Like I do. And I feel like I can help him.
Okay, Ben Chu, here's the question. More or less convincing than Amber Heard?
I have to say they're on a par. I found it very incoherent and unconvincing. What
is it? Like I'm trying, like she's saying the words, right? I got hit with the curtain rod. I'm scared of him. What are you sensing from her, Ben, that could be a potential problem in this defense?
Well, there's not, the emotion doesn't match the words or the actions, and she seems to require prompting about the curtain rod incident and when it appeared. And as Bernarda and Paulette pointed out, it doesn't jibe at all, of course, with what ultimately happened.
Okay, guys,
to
we're
George.
back.
Okay, let's take a listen to a little bit more
Okay, I'm
from
back.
this interview
Thank you
talking
guys so
about
much.
the relationship.
Give me a minute and I'm going to get it in my...
But he's changed. He changed. And that's why you're still with him, even though he's done all these things to you. And
when I tell you I love him, I love him.
Even when you love somebody, you have limits.
Everybody tells me that. All my neighbors don't tell me that. The office, property manager.
At some point, somebody gets enough, then they have to do something to defend themselves.
I would just flee. I had him arrested how many times?
But you also went down and bailed him
I
out
know.
the next day.
I know.
What's on your laptop?
What was I going to tell you? Oh, previously, I actually looked up how to file a restraining order.
Okay.
Because I would kick him out, his parents, because of them constantly having to take him back in, his bags of clothes, all his stuff. The last time, their father came out irate and just not even, I don't.
I hate it when you have a friend or loved one that is in so much pain and you can't do anything for them. And as a first responder, that makes it even worse. I'm afraid she may have to have surgery on that knee. It's either a partial ACL or meniscus tear is what I think at this point. So God love her. Pray for her. It's horrible. She didn't do it here. She drove here in that condition. So I'm back. Let's get ready for Boone trial. All right, here we go.
I don't even know if he knew Lucas was in the car.
Thank everybody for holding
opened the back of my car and just started throwing all his crap in, just throwing it. Like the car would jostle, he was throwing all that stuff. At that point, because I continually did it, not continually, I think I maybe did it 3 times, and he has nowhere else to go, they got fed up and said, nope, either you're staying there or you're staying here. But if you're staying here at their place, it's permanent. You're not going back over there anymore. So what happens is he pursues me.
So Bernarda, it seems from my perspective here that she is going to need her expert to talk about what happens to a victim and why a victim would file charges and then bail out the person who was abusing her. And I don't think it's far-fetched to make that argument. I think that's part of the cycle of domestic violence, but it's going to be very necessary. You're going to need a strong expert to override everyone's feelings about Sarah when she talks.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's not unheard of. Of course, I had to deal with domestic violence cases when I was a prosecutor, and it is that ongoing cycle where they return to their abuser. But the thing is that in this case, just like Ben said, her delivery about what happened doesn't match like the feelings and what she's actually saying. So that's why it doesn't come off credible to me. Also, you have to think on the night of the incident when she puts this man inside of a suitcase and zips him up. She is the one in control. In fact, he is begging her to try to get out of that suitcase. And remember from her own recording, from the video recording, how strong she was when she was talking, how angry she was when she was speaking. That wasn't someone that was battered or someone that was abused. Because the first time I ever heard that video, I thought the person that was being abused was actually the boyfriend, the husband that was inside of the suitcase, because he came off as the one being the victim. Like, please, pretty please, let me out. I'm going to be good. He came off as the victim. But in the end, this case is going to come to a battle of the experts, because the prosecution will also call an expert to, of course, debunk what the defense is saying.
Let me ask you, Paulette, on a completely different subject that I was speaking with Lauren Silver about, which was the motion to suppress. They're trying to get a lot of these statements in this interrogation tossed because when the officer was reading or not reading the card, the last line of the printed Miranda warnings left off. Is that going to be a problem for the prosecution? Could her statements be tossed, her interrogation, because they left off the last line or so of the warnings?
I definitely think there's a chance. There is so much case law behind Miranda warnings, and the fact that you must give complete Miranda warnings, and even if you gave them the day before, you must give them completely again when you start another interrogation. So I definitely think there's a chance. I think if these interrogations, these videos do get suppressed, I think she has a better chance, because what we've all said is she's saying the right thing. It's the delivery that doesn't match that. So if she can take the stand and testify as to all these things and have her emotions match her words, I think she has a much better chance than just allowing the jury to see these videos, which we've all said just don't add up.
Yeah, and I think she believes she'll have a better chance with the professional hair and makeup as well, which is another pending motion. I want you to take a listen to some testimony from
One thing I want to say pisses me off about the makeup and the hair situation. Same when she was representing herself and wanting everything a normal lawyer has: private room, computer, internet, an assistant, all of that she wanted. Not gonna happen. She can have normal makeup from the dollar store, which is equal to the commissary in prison that they can pay for. Revlon, and then she can brush her hair. Now, if she was friendly with the people that braid hair, i.e. people, and made friends in her pod or her unit, trying to get to where I have a microphone and sign at the same time. That's better, I think. So if she had been a good girl and had friends, those women would possibly want to help her fix her hair. She's such a crazy, I'm not going to say person, but her thought process is crazy. He's in the suitcase zipped up. Then she flips it. Well, that's died. Then she flips it. And then you can see him trying to get a deep breath and calling for her to free him. That's awful. It is. Oof, does make you kind of gasp. I'm still reeling. I'm still upset about the fact that the other case where the sheriff unalived the judge, that the video was shown in court yesterday without warning. And the poor wife and the daughter and family had to sit there with no warning and just, it was boom. The video's up, it's playing, and they're seeing their loved one killed. Awful. Pisses me off. Whoever was the camera person should have never shown that. I know we watched it a few times because I was like, did we just see that? You can't not see that. Yep. I agree. I agree. Trying to get my interpreter here. 12:35. About 15 minutes or less. Hopefully the interpreter will hop on. Let me look and see if we have any new documentation that's posted. What in the heck? What was that? Oh, no.
And do you understand what I just read you? Yes. Perfect. Okay.
I'm going to take it off screen for a minute. So I want to talk, but I can't sign at the same time. Maybe I can. I don't know. So what I want to know is, what about the comment that Sarah Boone said about his family wanting to end her life? She was talking like they. Give me a chance. She was talking like the decedent's family were going to end her life. Well, honestly, what do you think is going to happen? You end the life of another person. Didn't mean to do that. Meant to do that. Uh-oh. We're going to watch this. But I'm a member. Guess I'm not. Okay, Doodle, we'll have interpreting for the Sarah Boone hearing, and then you can go back and watch that, okay? Loves, bless you. Thank you for joining. I'm going to voice only now. Okay, that helps a lot. It's so hard to, it is very, very, very hard to sign, work a mouse, try to find things, and talk at the same time. Just can't do it. Just can't do it. Well, baby girl, you heard my doggy flapping her ears. I hate it when she does that because it scares me. I don't want her to. Let me put that there. I don't want her to cause a blood blister in her ear. Did you know? I didn't know there was a new confession in the John Benet Ramsey trial case. Let's see. Honestly, I wasn't planned on coming on this early. I got to be honest. I was going to do homework, but some documents posted, so I'm going to go, and I thought, well, we'll come on and look at them. I didn't look at them first. I just pulled them up, and they, well, what can I say? That's that. What's this? Okay, that can go bye-bye. I got about 10 windows open, so I'm trying to find it. Okay. So I'm going to go pull up the Orange County jail records and see if we have anything else popping. I found it interesting that the way they posted all of those, everybody was waiting for the records to come out yesterday at closing, and then they came out today. They don't have the same set time, so. Oh, I hate every time we go, you got to check the bicyclist, check the car for the verification that you're not a computer. And every time you do it, it sits there and has you do 2 more pages. Like, right, I've checked the bicycle 4 times, and now I'm having to do it again. And again, and again, and again. There we go. Are you kidding me? 5th time. Let's go for 6 times a charm. Are you kidding me? This is like the 7th or 8th time I've done this. Cars, are you kidding? 9th time, 10th time, 11th time. It's having a hard time verifying me for some reason. I guess they're getting a lot of hits on this site. I am going to, I want to talk about Halloween. I know it's a month away, but I want to talk about Halloween. We are going to be having a Halloween contest. Yes, we are. I'm going to put this up here so I can check it. I'm looking at different videos to see what we have here. There's one that I'm looking for. But I don't want everybody else's commentary on it. That's why I love Trial TV Live when they put up their stuff. No court commentating whatsoever. Eddie, how are you doing today? They need no witness. Yes, definitely. Esmeralda, thank you for being here. Haley Mouse, Brat 00 double lot. Oh, thank you so much for being here. There's a lot of new people here. We greatly appreciate you watching today. Lisa Peterson, wow. Thank you so much for joining. We've got some newbies. So I'm trying to, like I said, I wasn't planning on coming on live until later, but it is what it is. Let's see what this is.
Out. All this
Refresh some of
comes
my memory.
after a slew of attorneys resigned from her case, and now she's representing herself. So this same woman who's accused of zipping her boyfriend into a suitcase and leaving
That's
him
horrible.
there to die,
I hate looking
is
at
now
him.
the one
It breaks
who
my
filed
heart.
this new motion, arguing her
Look how dirty her
constitutional right
carpet
to a
was.
speedy trial has been violated. So we're bringing in criminal defense attorney Kesia Early to break down
It's
this new motion
horrible.
and look
Are y'all
ahead
hearing
to
me
Sarah
okay?
Boone's looming trial. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Sierra Gillespie.
Thank you, Long Crime.
By now, you're probably
Thank you, Long
familiar
Crime.
with the case of Sarah Boone. It's captivated our audiences for more than 4 years now. It takes us back to February 2020 when
got
Boone
10
was
entries.
hanging out with her boyfriend, 42-year-old Jorge Torres. She says they were drinking and playing hide and seek, as one does, and Torres climbed into a suitcase. Boone says it was all fun and games, but take a listen for yourself.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. You. You. Stupid.
She's enjoying it too much.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Boone says she forgot about Torres and the suitcase and went to sleep. She only woke up hours later when her phone rang, and that's when she says she found Torres, who then was unresponsive.
I didn't mean to leave him there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You got up and walked away. How is that not intentionally leaving him there?
Because I'm looking at the hole, knowing that it's there. He'll get out no problem. Because you don't.
And then he doesn't, but you don't go check on him.
Do you realize, and I mentioned this the other day, pay attention to what's happening here in this video. Do you hear it? She is allowing they're allowing this video to continue to play while she is trying to, gotta believe me, you gotta, and what's happening is a psychological game. It's a psychological game. As he's calling her name, and as this video keeps playing, she gets more and more aggravated. And it is a beautiful game that this investigator did. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
You up for 30 minutes and he doesn't come up. You don't go down and check on him?
I'm in the bed.
So after all this, Boone is arrested and charged with second-degree murder in Torres's death. She's booked into the Orange County Jail in Florida, and that's where she's been ever since. The case has seen some movement, though. She's gone through 9 different attorneys and written hundreds of pages of letters to her case's judge, demanding new counsel or even simply complaining. So all that leads us to where we are right now. Boone is representing herself. Her case is set to go to trial in October, and she wants it thrown out. So now let's break down this new motion and see if it'll hold up. For that, we turn to criminal defense attorney, Kesia Early. Hi, Kesia. Thank you so much for coming on with us today.
I like her.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Kesia, we're going to start with the right to a speedy trial. This is something everyone knows about, but I do have the Florida state statute up. And it says a defendant has the right to a speedy trial 90 days after their arrest if it's a misdemeanor, or 175 days if it's a felony. Now, we know it's been more than 4 years since this alleged crime happened, but now Sarah Boone is saying that she wants this right to a speedy trial, and also she wants everything thrown out while we're at it. What do you make of it? Does her argument hold up?
Keep dreaming, baby.
It doesn't. It doesn't. The problem with her motion, and I actually printed it out and I reviewed it. The title is right, but the body is wrong, because in one instance, she's asking for the case to be dismissed. So she filed a motion to dismiss. And then in a body, she's claiming ineffective assistance of counsel, and she wants a speedy trial, which she attached as a Sixth Amendment. So these are several motions into one. And had she wanted to file a motion to dismiss, claiming that, the charges were legally defective, she should have filed that under the Florida Rule Criminal Procedure 3.190. Now, for the speedy trial, just like you mentioned, this is a felony and you have 175 days, which, by the way, was already waived because
Okay, guys, I have a question. Let's look at what we just saw. Does anybody see what I just saw? Discord server is another place. It's free, where people go and chat and communicate, and I can put things there that I can't put things here. It's a wonderful place. We'll put that up. Esmeralda, we're going to do Halloween here. What I'm going to have people do is put their photos in Discord, or they can hop online and show me live, because I'll have my link up. And we're going to do all kind of fun stuff. Let me get my Discord link up so you can go and see it, join it. And what will happen is we're starting member chat where you can just hang out with a bunch of people and have a great time. You can also, I'm going to copy. I'm going to put it down here. Control V. Boom. I can't believe I did that all by myself. Go figure. We have places that you have member chat. Adacorn, I got to get some information up in there. I'm sorry. You can chat with our ASL interpreter and myself if you have any questions about ASL. We actually have a breaking news section. So if something breaking news, I clear out the breaking news after it's done. So if we have some, like when the Houston explosion happened and things like that, we do have what's called a support group there. It is if you've gone through some stuff and you're struggling and you need someone to talk to, you can communicate with us and we'll try to help you and guide you, whatever you need. Let me see what As the Gavel Drops. As the Gavel Drops is another Discord group, and that's where we get most of our documents. Fabulous. So anyway, it is a good, safe place to chat. You can make it a private group, or you can invite people to join. You can join my Discord for free. It doesn't cost anything. And we talk about family, kids, sometimes cases, whatever. It's kind of cool. But I want you to see this. Let's look back. Let me go back here.
This 190.
Okay, look at that girl. What do you see besides someone who never took care of their skin? Ugh, that looks like it's sandpaper. Look at her hair. Look how horrible her hair is. Now, mind you, she was a raging alcoholic. Right? Now look at her hair.
Now for the speedy trial, just like you mentioned.
And look at her hair here. Jail has done this woman good. Look at her skin. Wonder what happens when you get off the booze, alcohol, and cigarettes and whatever else you were doing. Her system is clean. Why do you need a hairstylist? Look how gorgeous condition your hair is in versus that. I mean, look at this. Y'all don't understand how getting off of excess use of drugs and alcohol and smoking can change your complexion and hair. Case in point, perfect model right there, right there. Before, with all of the stuff she was doing.
190.
Oh, I'll just do this.
Days,
and
which,
after.
By the way, it was already.
Look at the skin. The hair. You don't need no stylist, honey. Your hair is rocking it compared to what it used to be.
Obviously, she
just
went to
saying.
so many attorneys, but she
I'm
does
a professional
have
makeup
the
artist. I
option of
is.
filing another demand for speedy. Then she'll get a 5-day hearing, and trial will be set within 50 days.
Zach, are you kidding me? I ain't dishing the white skin. I'm dishing the poor condition of that milky white skin that you just so like. Have you noticed I lightened my complexion for you, Zach? Are you free? You're not cheap. Quit talking about cottage cheese legs. Come on now. That was my lunch.
She filed it under the wrong motion. And
I'm trying to eat healthy. Cottage cheese is a part of that, and you're ruining it for me, Zach.
As you mentioned, she is now representing herself, and that makes for an interesting motion, to say the least. And to start, she kind of makes a dig at her past attorneys, 9 of them. And I wanted to read it verbatim. She writes, quote, "Ineffective," which is not a word again, it's ineffective, but I'm reading what Sarah Boone wrote. "Ineffective substandard state-provided attorneys should have made this request long ago, proving this is a fact about the right to a speedy trial." Does this argument hold any water, though? Because it seems like she's asking for the speedy trial, but then this is ineffective use of counsel. So what do you think?
Not at all. Because typically you see ineffective assistance of counsel with appeals. So basically, if I had an attorney and I was found guilty, and I believe that that particular attorney did not file the proper motion or say the proper objection or allowed evidence in that should have been excluded pursuant to the Florida rules or the rules of evidence, then you file the appeal. And
has anybody ever shot
appeals would be ineffective assistance
Team U?
counsel.
Is it good or is it
her
crap?
Case is still pending in trial court. So, even if you have a legal basis, you also need to back that up with legal authority. Legal authority is case law, and that case law must be
you got to back it up with case law.
Jeopardizing case law, you're essentially making sure it's still good law, because sometimes cases are overturned, they're red flagged. So there's so much that should have been placed in this motion and it was not. Therefore, I'm confident that the judge is going to deny this motion, and she's going to have to file it in a proper way. This is why it's absolutely important to have proper legal representation and not represent yourself.
Hey, so I'm going to take a guess and say a lot of you who watch our videos might be business owners, maybe even thinking of starting a little side hustle. Well, that's why I want to talk to you about our sponsor.
Yeah, appreciate it. Nope. Why don't we do this? We have a sponsor, and I feel bad because I kind of spaced out. Those of you who know, I survive on coffee, which I haven't had yet today. Go figure. And the Hitchman Homestead is my very first sponsor, and they have been fabulous. They have kept me in my coffee addiction so I can keep going for you. So let's have a little break and hear from our sponsor. Thanks for understanding. Hey, y'all, please help me welcome the Hitchman Homestead Coffee. They are fabulous. They have many different blends of freshly roasted, freshly ground coffee. They have a monthly club where you get 4 bags for $40 or a Keurig option. Also, they just came out with a half and half. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. So do me a favor. Go down to the link below at hitchmanhomestead.com. Order you some coffee and show them some love. They are great, y'all. Absolutely love them. They really are good coffee. Good coffee. Let me get back to this.
Is set for October, so just around the corner. But this happened back in February of 2020, so 4 years ago. And during that time, she's gone through almost 10 attorneys. So it seems to me she was kind of slowing it down herself. I mean, we saw those letters. She wrote the judge hundreds of pages, handwritten letters, mentioning that she wants a new attorney over and over and over again. So why now is she saying, hey, I want the speedy trial, when in the past it seems like she was kind of dragging her trial out?
Well, it's essentially looking at this case from the beginning.
I'm going to have
it's clear
some
that she's being represented by assistant public defender.
Hey, Mouse, I haven't had an opportunity to get a cup. I came in here today and I thought I got a morning. I'll get my homework done, have a cup of coffee, be kind of on the chill. Well, came in here and all hell broke loose. So I'm getting ready to brew me a cup of coffee because this chick needs it now more than ever.
By the way, I used to be a former assistant public defender, and we're real lawyers, right? So we have to go to law school. We have to pass the bar. The only difference between being a public defender and being a private attorney, we have more cases on our docket. And I believe from the onset, Sarah Boone was just being unreasonable with her request. She believed that she should have been the sole client and taken care of, given preferential treatment, and that's not how it works. And I do believe she had some great attorneys that was willing to fight for her. But sometimes I always have to explain to my clients, I represent your legal interests. I am not your puppet. So sometimes we're going to disagree with the theory of defense.
I'll have 4 by the end of this afternoon, I'm sure.
It goes out because I was schooled and trained in the proper way of practicing law, and you have your feelings. And we talked about this. We always say that
can y'all hear this?
Yourself, you have a fool for a client because you don't know. We make it look easy, but what's the
let me know if you heard that.
To law school,
if you didn't hear anything, let me know.
The bar and learning about all of the legal procedures, the statutes, case law, for you to think, oh, I can do this. So she's climbing an uphill battle is going to be extremely difficult, and there's no way that she's going to have any traction on this motion. Denied.
Okay, so one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you today is because of your past as a public defender. Our booking producer, Alyssa Fisher, who we couldn't do the show without, but she mentioned that you had a defendant in the past who was kind of reminiscent about Sarah Boone. Is that right?
Of course. I had several defendants in the past, primarily maybe because I'm a female and they think that, we're nurturers, but no, I'm a zealous advocate for the law. I respect the rule of law. And there were times that my client wanted me to file a demand for speedy, and I didn't even have discovery yet. And I understand you're in custody. You think you have a great case. You think you have a great legal defense. And I have to have these serious
Oh God, that smells so good, y'all.
and let them
Not
know I'm
lying.
not prepared. But if you really want to go forward,
That
you
smells
have
so
that
good.
right. But the problem is that if you choose to go forward knowing that I'm not prepared and you still want to go to trial, you don't want me to investigate further, set depositions, or even see if there's any evidence out there that can prove your innocence, the difference is you run the risk of losing your freedom and I'm walking out of that door. So oftentimes when I have this conversation with my clients, reality check, they come to their senses. And then there's other times where there's not a connection there and they're fighting me. And as a public defender, you're assigned to those cases. It's not like I can just withdraw because, I don't like you. But if there's an issue, sometimes I may even request mental evaluation just to make sure that this person has the right state of mind. So sometimes that works, and sometimes, they just have to go forward with trial and eventually be found guilty.
And we know that it was both Sarah Boone who was asking for new public defenders, and some of them were motioning to get off the case too. So it kind of seemed like a mutual situation. And that's how we ended up here that we're talking about today, the motion that she herself filed because she is representing herself. And I wanted to go back to that because this was kind of crazy to me. When I opened the motion, I didn't expect to open a history textbook. She literally has the Bill of Rights. She's talking about, she has the second one, talking about the militia, the right to bear arms, obviously irrelevant in this case. Was that a little unconventional to you too, seeing the entire Bill of Rights right there?
What?
Here, guys, you're going to like this if it works. I have intro music. I have actual intro music for Sarah Boone as she's entering into the courtroom every morning. You ready for this? Let's tell me even though you knew. Let me know you hear it. Bring the jury. Oh, I've downloaded some fun stuff. Just got to get it all to work.
This motion, I just immediately went into lawyer mode. I wanted to see case law. I wanted to see a legal argument. I wanted to see a summary, a history, so that I can shepherdize and be prepared. But when I saw it was just a copy of the Bill of Rights, I'm like, no, this is not good. There has to be something on the third page. Yeah, it was a copy of the envelope that she mailed to the court. So clearly, she does not know what she's doing. And I can't figure out for the life of me, as a practicing attorney who's tried over 100 trials and represented thousands of clients, I don't understand how someone, a pro se litigant, can feel like they can do this and gamble with their freedom, because this is not civil law. This is criminal. Your freedom is on the line. And if you lose, and most likely you will lose, because statistics show that if you represent yourself pro se, you have a greater chance of being convicted versus if you even have a public defender. And public defenders don't even get that much respect because they think, oh, they're public pretenders, they're not real lawyers, they don't care. There are great public defenders out there that will uphold the rule of law and zealously fight for their clients. But then you have clients who are being unreasonable. In this case, Sarah, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself.
She
as
said
far
it.
As this motion, we've hinted at it a bit before.
Snap.
It doesn't
I like
seem
you.
like it's really going to hold up. So what do you expect the judge's response to be?
Well, first and foremost, the judge must respond. Although this is, not considered a legally solid motion, the judge must respond for purposes of the docket, purposes of the record. So most likely this will be a denial. And she will respond in writing because this was not an or tennis motion. She did not make this motion verbally, and the case will go on because, again, she can't have a speedy trial because she has to file it under the proper Florida Rule of Criminal Procedure. And then there's a purpose to it. You have to have a 5-day hearing after you file the motion. And then once you have that 5-day hearing sets the trial date, which is set within 50 days. And if she's not tried within the 50 days, there's a 10-day recapture period, which is a notice of expiration that she also must file. And then if she's not tried within that 10 days, the case gets dismissed forever. But she's not going to know this because she does not practice law. And besides, even if she did know all of that, she doesn't really have a good legal defense. I mean, we all know the facts of this case.
So we're thinking that's what's going to happen. The judge is going to dismiss this. And then, as we've talked about through this entire interview, she will represent herself. She is pro se. That is coming up in October, and I know I'm very eager to see what she has up her sleeve, if anything. What do you expect to see?
Circus involving Sarah. She's going to not know how to pick a jury. There's a certain way that you pick a jury. And can you imagine you being the defendant, questioning the jury that will potentially make a determination as to whether there's guilt or innocence? She's not going to know what to do. And let me say this, although we have the right, the constitutional right to represent ourselves, we don't have the right to be nurtured along the way by the judge and to learn the law along the way. So the judge is not entitled to say, hey, Sarah, don't forget you got to do this. Or the prosecutors, they're still going to object. You can't have hearsay. It can't be inadmissible evidence. So, what do you do, Sarah? Do you humble yourself and say, Your Honor, I would like to have an attorney, and this time I'm going to let them lead and I follow? Or are you going to still be belligerent and rude, disrespectful to the court, and make these demands that you're not entitled to under the Constitution, the very Constitution that you attach to your motion? So it's going to be very interesting, to say the least.
Well, if that does happen and Sarah Boone says, I am in over my head, I don't think I can do this, hey, judge, I actually want a public defender, what do you think the judge is going to say? Because this trial has been moved back so many times, and it seems like they want to go forward with it in October. Is it possible that the judge just denies that and says, okay, Sarah, sorry, this is where we're at?
Well, typically what they do if you're a pro se litigant in a criminal case, you represent yourself throughout all of the duration of the trial. But once you get to the jury trial, you have what's called a standby attorney.
Yeah, you're right.
So
She's still
they're
running
off to
that
the
show.
side. But once you call them in, they're willing to help. But the problem is they was off to the side the entire time. So they don't know what you've been doing. There's not a meeting of the minds here. So it's still, to me, ineffective on her part, but not, it wouldn't be an appellate issue because you did not want that previous attorneys that you had in the past. And a bell should go off in her head. I mean, if you had 8, 9 attorneys prior, clearly the problem is not the previous attorneys. You're the problem. But she's not willing to accept that.
So we've talked about Sarah Boone's defense, whatever it may be, we'll see. But for the prosecution, I'm thinking they might have, I don't know if I want to say an airtight case, but a strong case. I mean, this happened February 24th, 2020. We're more than 4 years since this happened. Would that give them a lot of time to go through all of the evidence, all of the details, and really fine tune their argument?
It depends. My experience as a public defender, prosecutors don't stay on the case the entire time. Oftentimes they're transferred to different departments. They stay in one particular department, let's say a year or two. So we don't know if this is the same prosecutor that was on the case from the inception. However, they already have the upper hand because they're skilled and trained in the rule of law. They're knowledgeable attorneys, they're experienced attorneys, experienced trial litigators. So they already have the upper hand. But just to see it, put on my defense attorney's hat for a moment, if I was forced to take this trial and be standby attorney for Sarah Boone, I would try to say, he zipped himself in the majority. He was willing, he assisted. And although I didn't take him out immediately, it was a game that he complied with or whatever the case may be. But that's pretty much her defense because intoxication is not a defense. Voluntary intoxication in the state of Florida is not a defense. So she can't say, well, I was drunk, I didn't know, unless she's going to blame it on him or he forced me to drink. But you can tell by the video, the cell phone footage, which she created, and it's the most harmful evidence against her, that she was mocking him and he was pleading for his life at the same time taking his last breath. And I think that is going to be compelling evidence to the jury. And that will secure a conviction.
Whatever happens, we're definitely going to keep an eye on it to see what Sarah Boone brings to the table and what the prosecution does too. Kesia, it's always great talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Boone's motion to dismiss was filed just this week, so we're just waiting to see how the judge rules on it. And for now, her trial is still scheduled to begin on October 7th at 9 a.m. You can follow the...
Thank Thank you so much, beloved. That's so sweet of you for telling us that. Yes, it is. And we are all here for it, y'all. We are definitely all here for it. I am getting ready. Hi, Lisa. How are you? She can't give the nonetheless answer. Like in last night's debate, somebody was said, well, first, a lot, and it drove me nuts. What is in my blanket? It drove me nuts. There we go. It really did. And signing that all the time. First, but where's the second and third and fourth? It was crazy. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I am in the process right now. I am scheduling a live that this will feed directly into. It should just go straight there. We will be going into the Sarah Boone. I didn't plan on coming on all morning. Life happened and things popped up, but I'm so glad all of you are here. You have blessed me mightily. So let's talk about how this is going to be kind of sort of going. So on Tuesday, we're supposed to have a live that will be, wait a minute, I want to edit. How do I do this here? Okay, there it is. We will be having a live on Tuesday. They're going to start jury selection. I don't know for sure how that's going to go. But from what I understand is that the judge is expecting it to, I'm trying to get where you port it to the next one. So give me a minute. So the judge was hoping at first to get all of the jury done the first day, but now I think he's pretty much come to the realization that ain't going to happen. Oh, there's customization. Cancel. So that's not going to happen. So they will be redirect is what I want. They will be I didn't put the right time on there, did I? Gotta edit that. Unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. It's too my time. Sorry, I'm trying to get this set up for y'all. The whole thing I frustrate with this whole Boone thing is we've gotten past all the pro se bull. We've gotten past all of the letters. Boy, if you want to have some fun reading, go over to Discord over at the Gavel Drops and download those letters. Oh my Lord, y'all. She's loving the attention and the fame. Oh, that's right, the jury. And so they're going to start the jury selection. I don't think that's going to be filmed. I would be surprised if it was. Usually it is not. So Tuesday, if it's filmed, I will go live, but I will not be on the live. I will be doing it remotely because I have something to do with the service dog organization that blessed me with my fabulous girl. Then on Wednesday, he thought he could do it in one day, but now he's thinking it may take 2 days. So he's allotting, I think, through Wednesday. And I think the goal or the gear is where they're hoping to go to is Thursday for the actual opening statements. Now, if they can get it all done in one day, that'd be great. His plan, and I know he had a little bit of an argument thing going on, but his plan is to start the morning with 50, and then they're going to go through and just do the pregnant, just had a baby, whatever, the normal exclusions, care for disabled or indigent or parent or whatever. After they do that first weeding out of potential jurors, then they'll go through the next 50. He's going to want to have his magical number is 40. Whenever they hit that magical 40, then they're going to dismiss the rest. And then out of that 40, they're going to start doing the voir dires. And then at that point, once they get down to the 12 plus alternates, which I'm sure he's probably going to do 15. Wait, this is a 6-person juror, so they might do 8 to 12. He may not do 12, but I'm sure he'll probably do maybe 8 to 9. I don't know. Once they have that, then they'll go into trial. I don't know why. And by the way, we got a new member. Everybody, welcome our new member, y'all. It's amazing. I love new members. For those of you who are just watching, yes, we are having a giveaway. Here's last year's tumbler. I got an orange that went from this to this, but I hope we get a little more fancier Halloween tumbler for whoever wins. So we'll get that done. So anybody have a comment they would like to say? Because we are getting close. We have 15 minutes-ish before we go live at the other. Let me say hello. I am over commenting. We do have a partner as well in Trial TV Live. They are fabulous. They are my preferred go-to for all my trial hearings. If they have it, I am going to be using their feed. It is no commentating, just a blank feed, meaning straight trial play. Also, not today, but starting tomorrow, we have a new sponsor. Our fabulous new sponsor is a tea company. Okay, so didn't want to do that. Why are we going into that? Not what I want. So we will be doing we will be having a new sponsor. I love coffee, but I also like hot tea, especially in winter. So we'll be doing a hot tea. Can't wait. There's my Boone. I've got like 20 windows open here. I finally got my third screen back up and running. Some of the stuff from Temu is great. Some is cheap from Chinese crap. Well, Haiti Mouse, thank you, because I've never bought from them. And someone told me to look at their camping gear because some of it's the same brand as the others that are a lot more money elsewhere. And I guess if it's something that you're not using every day and it's like tarps and I don't know, we'll see. You just pulled an all-nighter for your class? Oi? What class, Dr. Bullbutter? What class? Oh, gosh. For those, someone asked what happened to my background. Last night we interpreted for the in ASL for the vice presidential debate, and I have to have an all-black background, all black. So it's going to be like that for a day. I have to put it up and take it down. Oh, man, that coffee's good. So I almost feel my receptors in my brain go. Medical coding. Oh, fun. I tell you what, there's a lot of things I can do, but that I don't want to do. Could do it, probably. Want to? Heck no. We need people like you out there in the world, girl. You have my utmost respect for what you do, because Lord knows that's something that I don't want to have anything to do with. That's a lot of hard work, very hard work, guys. And it is also very tiring. Excuse me. Oh, let's talk about my sounds. How about this one? And when the lawyers are going at it like a boxing match, it's on. Then we have the buzzer when it's time to end. Or like when Sarah Boone, if she gets up and testifies and someone gives a wrong answer. And then we have, of course, this. This is what I'm going to do when I hear a bunch of BS. Well, thank you so much, Kristen. I really appreciate it. Here's the man. Breaking news. Oh, here's my cartoon. Because we have the cartoon with her. Then we have cinematic. So maybe I'll do that when the judge is walking in. Then I might start using that for, and then when someone is full of hot air, no sound. Oh man, this pisses me off because someone had sound earlier and I was all excited. Let me click on it and figure out what's going on. Let's try this. Can you hear this? I can't even hear it. Do you want to do? I'm going to pull up my live on my own thing and listen to myself and see what y'all are hearing. Because it's delayed. Nope. All right, I'll fix it. I don't know how, but I will. All right, I'll fix it. What's going on, Matt? I really want to get more out of the deaf and hard of hearing support through this channel, so that's the direction I'm going. I hope it works for me. I really hope so too, because okay, guys, we have time to talk, so let's talk for a few seconds. One of my goals for the future is to have with this channel a sub channel. New member. Have a sub channel where I go and do things and sign everything like my metal magnet fishing or geocaching or maybe camping, and I share information about the things I use, and I talk about, is it deaf, hard of hearing, or disabled friendly area? Does it have accessibilities? What places are good and safe to go to do some of these activities? So that's kind of like a travel thing, but not all travel for the deaf community. Oh, just listen. Throw it on and listen, baby. Thank you, Esmeralda. But don't forget, we're going into a very heated and important hearing. It's the pre-trial, and it can get really interesting. So, y'all, we got 7 minutes and 14 seconds before that happens. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go live in this one, and I hope y'all teleport into that one. Gotta hope so. Because if you don't teleport, please just go over there. Thank you so much. Once again, this has been a fun live, unexpected live, but I'm very grateful for you being here. I hope you guys have a fabulous day and come join me in about 30 seconds over at the new live specifically set up for the Boone trial. Thanks again. Can't wait to see you over at the other one.